want to do the introduction?
No.
Introduction? No.
It's your show.
We're
in it. This is the introduction.
Yes,
This could
Dream
be it.
Warriors 39.
I got it right down. 39.
And with Mark.
Up there. Hello.
Yeah, what was your nickname?
I don't remember.
We forgot your nickname.
I don't know. Mark the Merc was the temporary nickname, and then I don't think we loved it. So I guess if it's not a good nickname if we don't know it.
Well,
so there you go.
Mark the Merc is here, and we're going to rock and roll. Let's hit that music. Down. We're back.
39. 39.
Yeah, so the it's kind of funny too, cause the big goal at one time was 50. Like 50 was like almost like the like I viewed 50 as such an uphill battle. And the gap, like the time between 1 and 25 seemed long. And now 25 to 50 seems to be a sprint,
right?
And it's good, you know. Like it's you and I are far more consistent than I think we've ever been. Just in like our level of communication. Like we haven't been this back and forth. I think since
it's funny.
Watchmen.
I think our back and forth is still not a lot, but it's because we know our brains are very similar. So it'll just be like a word, and we'll be like, yeah, like it'll be like this. It'll be like a quick opinion, and go, yes, agreed. Like it'll just be like agreed. Well, because there's so much dumb pop culture stuff. It just hits all the time.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I also think a piece of it though too is that we're so much more familiar with one another's lives now. You know, and we're not in each other's shadows. So when you like don't respond, or even if it's like 8:00 on a Saturday, and I might have texted you at like 3:00, like I'm like all right, he's doing stuff with the like with the girls. He's being like super dad, and you know, and then maybe you'll hit me back later that night or like Sunday morning, and there's like none of that like. What like what's he doing? Like
right.
This was a important question about this trailer.
This is an important question about what was the last one? Was it Black Panther? We were hipping each other to Black Panther. Was that what it was? Or I don't remember.
There was a.
I think I said wrote something about the poster. I'm like, I hate the poster. Like I hate it.
Yeah, just you know what there's you want to get right into Black Panther?
Yeah, we'll do I'd say do trailers. Or you want to flip? But we've been teasing the button for episodes. Should we just stop and then just go straight button?
I kind of want to talk about Black Panther.
All right, so we'll flip to trailers and then back. My favorite. It's the segment. Well, that's the segment. Though.
Okay.
Trailer park trash.
You know what though? Let's just do the button.
All right, let's put a pin in it. Put a pin on the button. Is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. Too many analogies?
Yeah. Okay, so how would you... all right, so I am Johnny No.
Johnny DC.
Maybe I bought this, right? Maybe I bought this because I was in the bookstore. I picked it up. Whatever the reason is.
I'll tell you why you bought it. So you're standing at the newsstand, and the cover's there, and Batman is holding a button that is, it looks familiar to you, and you don't know. You're like, what is that? Is that the Watchmen button? I don't know why.
Okay.
So I mean, because I think that's the way the first. It's actually that first issue, and the first issue of Flash that it crossed over to. That's the cover. Is he's holding the button, and it's the same cover. It's just the same. It's same cover, same artist. It's just it's the same button.
Yeah. So like, do you attribute some of this all-in bet that DC editorial has with Watchmen? Do you contribute any of that to the movie? Like not just what you would say the success of the movie, but the advertising and the awareness that came through that campaign.
Well, I'll go through kind of. We'll back up to kind of explain what is the button. So, DC every couple years has to reset itself to new readers.
Yeah.
So they had one called the New 52. It didn't work, and reset itself, meaning that like the first issue of Justice League, it's like the first ever issue of Justice League. No, there's been 70. There's been years, 50, 70 years of Justice League. There's 75 years of Wonder Woman, but new Wonder Woman #1 comes out. So the most recent incarnation, the 52, the New 52 didn't do that well. They created a new universe, not new universe like Marvel, but they created a new universe called Rebirth, and there was a one-shot called DC Rebirth, DC Universe Rebirth.
Yeah.
And in that, it was basically a brand new continuity. Some stuff kept from the old continuity, some stuff was brand new.
So real quick, let's just bring like the whole reboot idea, the reason why it's necessary for DC Comics. Just go through the quick history of that. So we have like what's called the Golden Age of comics.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Age.
39 to 63, probably.
Yeah. Okay. And then a lot of these, DC Comic being a great example of it, they, companies absorbed one another. Okay. So at one point, DC Comics had just like a lot of characters that were owned by different companies, and they just wanted to make comics to fill the newsstands, to make sales, stay in business. And so we hit the Silver Age. Like, we'll just fast forward to the Silver Age, and Marvel, through a similar process, okay, but Marvel kind of had a little bit of magic dust, meaning right people at the right time, and they just made comics like connective with continuity. Okay, so Fantastic Four could reference Spider-Man could reference X-Men, and everything like lined up.
Everything swapped and built off each other, correct.
So at this point, because it became like a little bit of status quo, DC emulates this, and it was like a little bit of escalation, like meaning that Fantastic Four, you would have Challengers of the Unknown on the DC side, Fantastic Four, Justice League of America on the DC, like so. For DC, this was only sustainable up until the 80s, so maybe like a solid 20 years of kind of like non-connective storytelling.
There were multiple, so different books had different continuity. So for example, in one Batman comic book, he was married to Selina Kyle. They had a child, who was the Huntress.
Yes.
And then another book, he was just Batman. Like it was just like a normal.
Yeah.
And then so they had to just destroy. So the way they explained it away was that it was all multiple artists. And you said that so where they acquired different companies. So you had DC at some point acquired all the Charlton characters, which is the Question, Blue Beetle, so the Peacemaker. They had all those characters.
Peacemaker, yeah.
And they put them in their own world in the Charlton. So they created so many worlds. They were Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth Z, Earth, they acquired Shazam, Captain Marvel. So they put them in a separate world.
Yeah, was Shazam acquired, was the company Wiz Comics?
Wiz Comics was, I don't know who owned that. Wiz Comics was the first appearance of
the
them.
first appearance. Yeah, okay.
So they had all that. So they basically created a series called Crisis on Infinite Earths, which basically destroyed everything, and then
just
started a brand new.
Yeah, it's just realigned it. So this,
and it's good. It actually is. I still believe it to be very, very good. Very effective.
I agree. It's the most effective. So a little bit of the magnification of that was that for people who were religious about their comics at the time, and there was a lot of people, this was something to be like you kind of had to read it, you had to own it, you had to track it down, and on top of that, you had the post Richard Donner Superman movie that projected almost like what the new attitude was going to be in DC Comics post Crisis. Okay, so I still say I think collectively as a company, post Crisis DC had the most sustainable version of every character.
It was the best Superman. So John Byrne rebooted Superman, Man of Steel.
Technically, like a little bit further down the road, but you got the Frank Miller Batman. The now never used Frank Miller prostitute Catwoman, which still the best effing version for
Mm-hmm.
for obvious reasons. The birth of Suicide Squad,
Mm-hmm.
or the rebirth, because Suicide Squad was a military
Yeah.
uniformed unit that fought giant crocodiles in rivers in Africa.
And then they just created Santos. Yeah, Ostrander created like just a strange anti-hero Suicide
Yeah.
Squad. Mm-hmm.
And then the Flash.
The Flash was probably the biggest one, and I think that's the connective tissue of all the crises.
Yeah.
The Flash is important. The one scene in Batman vs Superman where the Flash shows up and he just like in a strange head mask and just yelling at Bruce Wayne, who's asleep at his computer.
Yeah.
Lois is the key. Whatever. I don't know what he said.
Yeah. So,
but
wait.
that's the exact moment from Crisis
Yeah.
on Infinite Earth
So,
where.
so quick side note. I don't think we talked about this with Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Quick side note. We're gonna go right back here. Every single one of the DC extended universe movies, whatever the heck they're called.
There's email.
Yeah, they all have a vision. Do you think that's purpose? Do you think that's on purpose?
What do you mean?
So Superman has his vision with Zod when he's aboard the Kryptonian ship. You know that the Earth is doomed. Okay.
Right. Oh, okay.
Batman vs Superman, the Flash vision.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad, the Enchantress gives them all visions of their happier life or how things might have ended if they were like whatever. Wonder Woman has her vision of the apocalypse.
Okay.
So like I don't know if that's something that no one's picking up on. Like right, like no one's made that connection. Right. This is a
Right.
Dream
No,
Warriors.
that's right.
Dream Warriors exclusive.
Dream War exclusive. TM.
Okay. So maybe we'll talk about that later. Okay. So Crisis hits.
So that's 86.
The Flash gets concreted as okay. So
The Barry Allen dies
yes.
to
The-
create to make sure the worlds would all combine.
Yeah.
I forget exactly why it does. But anyway, so Wally West, who was the Kid Flash at the time, he takes over, and he's our Flash, right?
Yeah.
He's our Flash.
Yeah.
So I'm 40. You don't have to disclose your age.
I'm 18.
Right.
No,
So
just
he's
like-
18. So, so that's my Flash. So even when I watch a television show, there's a lot of elements of the Barry Allen television that is Wally West. There's a lot of Wally West in the Barry that they make now in Rebirth. Sorry, that's just the way it is.
So all right. So let's just go from Crisis to the next. So okay. I need a little bit of your insight on this. We have 0 Hour.
So Crisis worked for 8 years.
Okay.
That was 94. No, yeah. So that was what? So that's 8 years. So it was 86 was Crisis.
So 0 Hour hits. What was the editorial? Was it more editorial to do that, or was it more like we need to like kind of do something because the comic industry itself was in escalation?
They wanted everything to be very accessible, and it started to get, what happens is it gets continuity bogged down, and when that happens,
It gets confusing.
it's impenetrable. The impenetrable comic book is, you go back to the Chris Claremont, has stated, every comic book is someone's first. Sometimes you can, what happens now is you pick it up and you're like, I have no idea, I can't figure anything out. And around movie time, we always complain about this because the comic books, when you go out and say, hey, I want to buy a blank comic book.
Yeah, I remember going through
They're
that.
completely, when X-Men came out, it's completely impenetrable. You can't go in and buy an X-Men comic book, anything like what's on screen, on and on and on.
You have to buy the X-Men movie spin-off or comic book.
You can buy these one shots. So these are just for you, and you'll never buy a comic book, and we'll never see you again in this comic book store.
That's
So there's a
100%
lot of badness. Now, what's funny is that us as comic book, we were comic book managers of stores. We hated those. We hated the tie-in books, and we also hated whenever the books turned closer to the movie versions because we were like, wait a sec. We were mad all the time. I mean, I guess I'm mad all the time. In this aspect, I feel that I was mad a lot.
There was a period that I went through where, and again, this is why I'm vocal about it, where I thought it was their right was to please me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just man, that's such a backwards way of looking at anything, because what does DC Comics care about Peter A. DeLuca? DC Comics doesn't want to go out of business. And
Right.
and that's kind of and it's a little bit what we were speaking with the pre-show. It's a little bit of an ego shot because you have to kind of track the source of betrayal. Where's this feeling of betrayal coming from when they kick Joe Casey off of Cable and they bring in Rob Liefeld for the epic Apocalypse Showdown for Cable 75?
Like one issue.
Yeah, and
I still hate that.
yeah, dude, it's one of my all time hates. Like all okay, but because I was so into that run at the time. But no, okay, so DC Comics does 0 Hour, and that triggers 0 issues now, line wide, which really kind of didn't have any changes for, you would say, the top characters. It was more experimental changes for Manhunter, Dr. Fate, Primal Force. That was led by Red Tornado.
The only thing that kind of, to me, Starman
Force.
came out. The Starman that worked. That worked all the way through.
There you go. Yeah, and that was what, an 80 issue run.
It was 70, and then there was some one shots and specials. Yeah. So.
You know what I just dug up today? I was going to. I totally forgot to see when it existed.
Primal Force.
Yeah, Primal Force. Now, Hellboy, Batman, Starman.
What a wonderful! It was like the most. I couldn't have been happier. You know how much I loved all those. I was like, oh my god! And it was it was written by Robinson.
Yeah.
And then Mignola drew it, and it was colored by Dave Stewart, and
it opens with Mignola Joker, and I never.
Oof.
And I
scary, right?
And
yeah.
I never.
I can think of that. And he's like this, crouched down.
Yeah,
and
it's like I forgot that he ever drew the Joker. Like, it was so new to me when I went through it, and it was only 2 issues, right? That was like a 2 issue.
Yeah, but they were 30-page issues, so there was 60 solid pages.
That's all. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Okay, so
and it's completely in. What's crazy about it is it's completely in both continuities. And it's on the cover of the Starman omnibus, and it's collected in the Starman out. So I don't even know whatever arrangement they had.
Yeah, that's
I just
interesting.
figured it's placed exactly where it fits in the Starman continuity. Those Starman omnibuses are amazing. They're fantastic because there's usually a preface and then a huge afterword by James Robinson every issue. So those are top notch. Those are gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I would say the 94. So the 0 Hour. So Crisis is One Earth, and everything started. They put out a miniseries afterwards called The History of the DC Universe.
Yeah.
That George Perez did beautiful, just
amazing
individual
prestige format
drawings.
Those were
character.
Those were almost like library-esque encyclopedias. Brown cover, blue cover, and then there was a direct market leather-bound edition. That was made, but I think that was slipcase.
I forget how that.
That
came
might have been
out,
one of the first slipcases that the industry ever put out.
And it was so that what that did was that basically set the DC universe. Everything always is kind of set that the Batman and Superman at Genesis that happened at the same time ish.
Yeah.
That Batman's parents were shot the exact same minute that the spaceship landed.
Yeah,
I think it was a 0 Hour concept.
Yeah, and which was perfectly illustrated by one of my ex-boys, Ed McGuinness, for Superman Batman 1, where they I guess somewhat
I love that the first 3 issues of that were just perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah, and then
good job, Jeff Loeb.
And then it becomes Shogun, Superman, Batman, Shogun, Giant Robot by issue 6, and then there's 18 characters from both families in that. I mean, you even had Captain Atom. They put Captain Atom in Superman's family. That's just one. But it's Ed McGuinness, or it's Ed McGuinness proper, because Alan's responding to his artwork right now.
So Crisis sets everything back maybe 10 years. That as if Batman's 10 years old. So the whole point of all these were Batman 10 years old. But the funny thing with Watchmen is that they so right when Crisis was happening, Alan Moore had a pitch to do all the Charlton characters. So they were already destroying the world anyway. So they were like, yeah, you can do it. Then they're like, no, you can't do it. So they took the proposal and they reworked it. And I know I'm summarizing. I'm sure I'm getting some of this wrong. But essentially, they told Alan Moore he can't have those characters.
Right.
However, he made those characters. So Rorschach is the Question, Peacemaker is the comedian,
Right.
Captain Atom is Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
So he makes his own versions of those same archetypes of all the all the Charlton characters,
Which is a signature that he does anyway.
And what's amazing is he always rags on people about stealing his ideas. He had one character he's ever created, which was Constantine.
I was going to say John
which
Constantine.
is just he's a magician.
Well, yeah,
you know what I
but-
mean? He's never created anything.
Yeah, but
in my opinion.
Yeah,
Even Tom Strong, Promethea, they're all derivative. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is literally every literary character thrown together as a super team.
First to market though, he was the first one to put this super team idea. But
now it's the dark universe. Now it's everything.
We'll
cover that later.
Yeah. So all right. So 0 Hour leads the 0 Hour reboot.
So that's that's like 94. So that makes everything. I think that was even closer. Everything happened like 5 years ago, which was really tight because they were like, Dick Grayson was Robin and he was Nightwing. Like, so it was a little too close. It was a little bit like he was Robin for 6 months. So they do it again with 52. So they went a long time with 0 Hour. Really? No. I'm sorry. What they had Infinite Crisis.
Well, they had okay. So wait. So 0 Hour goes into So this is just what my take is. 0 Hour leads directly into Identity Crisis. And Identity Crisis is almost like the prologue that leads into like the 52 at that point. You know, the weekly series where they were now like it was like the reboot that 0 Hour led into was like a few years in the making. Where you had like the Earth 2 Superman like discovering the barrier and winking. That might have been during like a amalgam issue where like like it was this slow dribble that led into another crisis. Right?
Yeah, so the thing I think is funny with the Identity Crisis, I feel like Identity Crisis is actually a Marvel comic book. In some ways, because I feel like Identity Crisis. So Identity Crisis, there was a murder and there was some things, and there was also some mind wiping issue with Batman, and that's still in continuity now. Yeah. It's funny. So when they did New 52, they tried to do completely fresh, but then they kept a lot of Green Lantern continuity because in charge of 52 is Jeff Johns. Yeah. Batman didn't really change. Right. Superman changed. Superman changed a lot in the New 52, and then they've since threw that away again. Yeah. And now, they just keep doing this. So they just keep.
Yeah. Now it's a part of its regular editorial at this point.
Right.
Right.
I'm still reading it.
Yeah, and
still there
I would say like, the mashing together of alternate versions and the separation, and like it expands and contracts.
Yeah. So
like it's now a regular. Like practice that DC DC accepts it, they kind of just go for it. Like it's hard to explain how it's different what led into Infinity Crisis and how Infinity Crisis led into 0 Hour, because they were at least like linear. Like they kind of had stops and they had read this and it restarts. And now it just seems like it's almost like this, like you have to know about still things that happened 20 years ago in the comics now, and it's just
it's
really
exhausting.
It's really tough, and they confused the hell out of even simple characters like Dick Grayson. Now is amazingly complicated, not as a character, like he's not like a Mark Twain character or like Dostoevsky. He is very complicated to explain, like his state within the universe, because so now they're doing it again, and now so tell us what happens at the end of the Watchmen miniseries that leads into what DC's doing right now.
Well, I don't know. What do you mean, like, so the button is in some type of universe thing? Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean Dr. Manhattan leaving Earth, saying that he's going to create like a place that doesn't have so many problems,
Right.
which is beyond me. Wow, like okay, so they've hinted this. They've hinted like a blue hand that's involved with DC, like we'll call it DC Cosmic or DC Gods or DC Space.
Yeah, it's essentially like if it was Marvel, it'd be like Eternity or any of those type of celestial gods. So essentially, what they did was at the end of the most recent Crisis, they did a Rebirth one shot, very good one shot, kind of reset the universe. Flash is essentially the carryover.
Yeah.
So meaning that
Because he can run through time,
time,
existence.
dimensions, everything.
I love,
And that works. But it works. They do it on a television show. That's fine. There's still.
I love it.
So they still basically have that there's Earths. There's different. You know what I mean? They went back on it because that's fun. You know what I mean? Because that's
it never gets old. Look, so here
because that's comics.
So here's a quick side note. So during Infinity Crisis and leading into 0 Hour and post 0 Hour, that run, which might be like a 20-year solid run, okay? DC always embraced other ways to interpret their characters, styles. How I thought they were always superior over Marvel on this. Marvel, when Marvel ever attempted to do like an alternate storyline of one of their characters, you only had like Days of Future, like, and you kind of had like all of that, and then if you were really geeky, you had like, I don't know, like Kill Raven or something, like like there was so little, and DC embraced this through this line that they created called Elseworlds, and Elseworlds took these characters into, there was like a Shogun Justice League, okay, there was a Bruce Wayne, Batman, Abraham Lincoln bodyguard. Okay, so any one of these ideas, they got like attention. Some of them were miniseries, graphic novel, prestige format, one shots, and essentially, to me, that was like where DC that was one of the avenues that they always had to one up on Marvel, because the imagination was like kind of like, and the big ideas were like on their side. Marvel at that point always had the consistency, but DC was like, man, like, isn't this just nuts? And then in some way, like, I just feel like the people grew up reading those. Again, they're like, it poisoned the well. They were the ones that became the new run of editors, writers, and artists, and then they were like, well, let's just make this all proper. And because this love of alternate versions now, like, continuously corrupts, like, DC Comics, because, like, there's even talk now of, like, the Dark Knight video games, like, people want that rolled in. You know, dude, they rolled in Batman Beyond, and you're just like, it was just like a cartoon in the 90s, and they were tired of doing Batman, like.
Right.
Like, it doesn't, or even like Marvel has is Spider-Man Unlimited one of the Spider-Verse Spider-Man? Yeah. So you're almost like, what?
It's a way to appease every fanboy ever that ever had nostalgia for anything.
It's so tough. I really feel like it corroded both companies, but at one time when it was like separate, it was so freaking cool.
Well, every Batman Elseworlds, and they've been reprinting them here and there. They actually have collections now where
That's cool.
They just did a Kelly Jones one where it was all the Doug Mensch, Kelly Jones,
The vampire,
all the vampire stuff.
Yeah,
so
that was three. That was a
three
trilogy, right?
Yeah, it was Crimson, Bloodstorm, Crimson Mist, and then the first one was Red Rain.
Red Rain, yeah.
But they were all great. They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
And but you had some that just it was basically Marvel's. It was basically DC's What If. But it was fully realized versions, and they were longer than a single 22-page comic.
Yeah.
They were 48 pages. The graphic novels were 96 pages.
And going back to this time, we're really like defining our age here. But you had Son of the Demon, Elseworlds, and you had The Killing Joke, which was Elseworlds.
Not originally. They were continuity. And then I think later on they just kind of retroactively.
I remember always reading and hearing that both of those were always Elseworlds.
Killing Joke's continuity. It's always continuity. And
But-
I know that,
yeah,
and some of the
no,
demon, some of the
because-
demon they took out, they just said it wasn't a part of anything
Yeah,
for
but
a long time.
but it took them a while to if it was continuity, it took them a while to have Barbara Gordon catch up to Killing Joke, and it took them like maybe 10 years after Son of the Demon to even acknowledge.
They just ignored it. They
that-
acted like it didn't happen. So the Son of the Demon stuff, they just acted like it wasn't a thing. That it was these graphic novels
Yeah.
that it could have been, but Son of the Demon.
Son
And
of the
then then
Demon.
then they
I
made it
just love
completely.
that title.
So Son of the Demon
It's like a
essentially
metal
was
album.
what was basically a series. There was 3 of them. I think there was a couple of them. I know Norm Brayfogle did one. I know. I'm trying to think who was it.
I'm gonna say James Barr. Or not?
Mike O. Maybe I think Mike Barr might have wrote
Mike
it. I'm not
Barr,
sure if it was
yeah.
Denny O'Neil or Mike Barr, but I know that basically it was Talia. It was Bruce going there, and then him and Talia get together, and then Damien is born, which is Son of the Demon. Then they leave it
Yeah.
alone for a long time, and now
Yeah.
Damien's Robin.
Right.
Damien's 10,
and already
8 or 10.
already resurrected Robin.
Yeah, he's dead. He died, and then was
I think
was thrown into a Lazarus pit.
right through
like-
through Lazarus.
Or as the DC universe calls
The
it,
MacGuffin.
like Thursday. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It must be if it's Thursday, someone drops someone in the Lazarus pit.
Yeah.
That's the way the Arrow show uses Lazarus pits like all the time, man.
Yeah,
all
which,
the time.
Which I thought that was like, but to me that is 10 times cooler than like the overuse of that in the comics, because you expect it. You expect it's almost like you expect the comics to be lazy, but it's an awesome device, and it's a weird geek thing when it's in a mainstream television show like Arrow. Like
I like the Ra's al Ghul on that. I think he's
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean,
so I can't complain with that.
I'm not
so.
joking. I would literally flip my shit if they reference Asteroid M in any X-Men movie or television or anything. Like
Right.
live action reference to Asteroid M, I would lose my shit. And that's all I would need, because it's the coolest thing that they've ever done in like the X-Men universe.
Yeah.
Okay? It's the cool. I don't care.
I know.
It's the, and if you go to Pride, I'm going to stop the rain real soon. If you go to Pride of the X-Men, okay, you easily understand how Magneto could use his power to slingshot Asteroid M towards Earth at any time he would like. It's not only a formidable fortress, but it is a weapon of death for
weapon.
Magneto. Okay, like it's Armageddon level here. Okay, but no. Okay, so we go into DC. Would you like just answer me this? Do you think a part of this current reboot now, despite the quality of the work, because I do think it's quality. I think they like just page by page.
I'm reading a lot of that line. I'm
Yeah.
reading a lot of that line.
Okay.
And I've given you a ton of that Batman run, the new one.
Yeah.
I just keep dropping. I'm like, here you go. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, so here's my thing though. Like with that being said, okay, not taking anything away from anybody, is the origin of this new push, linking it to Watchmen, linking it to Dr. Manhattan, explaining the unexplainable within the context of the Watchmen. Is it lazy storytelling? Is it a lazy grab?
I don't know. So I didn't expect it. So they had a one shot called the DC Universe Rebirth, and at the end of it, Wally West Flash comes through, and he has the letter that he gives to Bruce.
Yeah,
So he gives
from Flashpoint,
right.
the Flashpoint father, Batman.
Right,
Or-
man, this is so it's so crazy. Like we can't even get to the books that we're trying to review. So there was another series called Flashpoint where Barry Allen tries to save his mom, creates a tangent universe where Bruce Wayne never
Which
happened.
He should know better at this point.
Well, yeah, but
in his superhero career,
how many times have you touched and messed up the past
like,
and future?
it's not only that. It's like
It's irresponsible.
it's something linked to major characters. It would be different if he stopped the death of a milk guy, random in some like suburban town. Like you stopped the milk guy from getting killed. No, this is your mother, and you are linked to every single hero and villain in this entire universe that have world-shattering capabilities, and you think disrupting that is just going to be what exactly, you asshole?
Right.
I'm all for Reverse Flash's like whole attitude and position towards this guy now. Like I've been for a while.
So you're pro Reverse Flash. Be like, you're the criminal. No, I said that with the new season of the Flash because there's all sorts of stuff that's wrong in the newest season 3 of the Flash, and then I'm just like, you're the villain, like Barry, and you're the villain because you keep touching stuff. So that being said, so they're Thomas Wayne, and this is relevant to. I swear we're getting to it. This is relevant to the next story. Is that Thomas Wayne? Barry explains to Thomas Wayne, so Bruce dies in the exchange.
Yeah.
Martha Wayne becomes the Joker.
Brilliant.
And that was a crazy
one of
miniseries.
the coolest like alternate
Very
ideas
scary.
Ever.
Right.
Like ever.
And Thomas Wayne becomes Batman.
Yeah.
Very good. There was a good little miniseries. It was Eduardo Rizzo and Brian Azzarello, but that thread was through the Andy Kubert drawn Flashpoint, which is a good miniseries. That's a very good miniseries.
No, I think pound for pound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's
and that ends and creates New 52. So that thread's still there. So at the end of Rebirth, he has that letter and he gives it to Bruce. And Bruce is just,
reads it.
He looks through and it
affects him.
Right.
So essentially, that letter was, and kind of like advice I give to a lot of, like young people, like these younger guys that show up in some of these offices that I go to, which is like I've made a lot of mistakes. Like you might like where I'm at. Like you might be looking up to me, but don't go through don't go through my road. Like don't go through this rocky, horrible path that I put myself on to get here. Mm-hmm. Like you can have an easier path sooner.
No, they need to go through it.
I don't know.
It's the journey, bro. It's the freaking journey.
Dude, you don't want my journey. You don't want this, man. I wouldn't put this thing on anybody. But no. So Bruce Wayne reads the letter. The letter kind of says, you don't have to do this, essentially, right? Like paraphrasing. Yeah. And then that sequence ends with the bat signal hitting the sky, and there's no action. Mm-hmm. And that's it, like fade to black or like.
Yeah, and in the Batcave at the end of that book, there's something detected, and he goes and he finds the button. He finds the comedian's button with the blood on it.
Right.
So that fell through. Whatever, you know what I mean? It fell through the universe or whatever. So,
just it's there.
Yeah,
that's all we gotta know.
What I liked about so then they didn't touch it again. There was bits and pieces of it. And at the end, I think you see his hand. You see, I don't know. You see, it doesn't matter. You see Dr. Manhattan's hand, or I don't really know.
Well, that's part of what they were teasing the blue hand for, like upwards to.
So they didn't touch it, which I thought was interesting. And then they announced a 4-issue crossover in between 2 books between Batman and Flash, and called The Button, and ominously titled The Button, and what I like about it is that just in the middle of the comics, there's it just drops you into a Batman comic. There's a hockey game going on, so the setting is really interesting.
A metaphorical hockey game. Mm-hmm. Okay, which that's when I talk about the quality of.
Well, what's the last time? This is kind of like a question. So we talked the last episode. I haven't not read Batman. And what I mean when I say that, I haven't not read Batman since like 1986. Like I've read Batman since 1986.
Yeah.
Like that's 21 years of Batman. I've never not read an issue of Batman. Like that's not an exaggeration. That's an actual fact.
Yeah, this is
whether it be Detective Comics, Batman, Shadow of the Bat, and any of the aspects. Yeah. Batman. So like you haven't read Batman. I don't know.
Monthly, dude. You know what it was? I think the last like just hardcore reading that I did was Chuck Dixon's run for Nightwing, which I thought was awesome, and he was also pairing with Robin.
But that's we're talking
2000s.
2000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So if he was writing the 2 of them, and then I think he was spearheading Contagion and No Man's Land, right? So I was watching that. I probably think I gave up with Bruce Wayne Murderer.
when it started to get heavy in the Ruckaverse, that's probably when you rolled.
But
Yeah, it was Rucka Brubaker.
But I will tell you one thing: Chuck Dixon's arc for spoiler in the Robin, like I think it was.
That's pretty much it. She's in Rebirth
the
now.
mid-80s. Dude, I don't care when it comes to teenage angst and misunderstanding.
There's nothing like a 45-year-old man from Westchester to write.
Hey, dude,
Whatever. No, I agree with you. I'm not making
conservative
fun of it.
Westchester man.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he's not working in comics anymore. Which
Partially.
sucks. Yeah.
Oh no, he's writing. There's a Bane miniseries just started with him and Graham Nolan. So it's literal Bane conquest.
Must have been good. That's it. Yeah.
It's a cash grab. It's
yeah,
fine.
it is. It's okay. Yeah.
Good.
Bane should always look. He's actually like okay.
He's the creator of Bane.
So quick side note too though, like Bane's underappreciated just as a supervillain origin.
I never cared for it. Don't care.
You never cared. I saw he had near perfect.
No, I always thought it was like Venom. It was always like a
set up and but Venom was just plastic. Bane actually has like childhood trauma. He has a history with his mother. He has a mission. He literally has a mission. Venom. Oh my God! Venom's just.
I want to eat your brain.
Toy Biz talking Venom action figure reference.
That was a rare one. They took it off the shelves.
Yeah.
So there was a talking Toy Biz Toy Biz, and that was probably what 80, 90, maybe 91.
I want to eat your brain.
I want to eat your brain. And then that was the little. So you pull a little. You press him on the back or whatever it was.
Little, square cube voice box that attached to.
It's probably if you look it up now, it's probably $50 or it's probably expensive.
Maybe. Yeah, I get. There's a collector resurgence with Toy Biz because people are out of collecting things and they're cheap. So some of them are spiking now. Like the X-Force Deadpool figure is maybe like a $60 figure now.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but okay. So let's get to the button. So the button comes out. They teased it. It is the button of the comedian as he was thrown out the window in the opening panels of Alan Moore's Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, movie begins somewhat the same way outside the credit sequence. It is one of the most iconic scenes in comics now, right? Like it easily top 10, just as of panels. Like if panels that you repeatedly see. I would say that the origin of Silver Surfer, the death of Mary Jane, the
death of Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, death of Gwen Stacy, the Frank Miller death
Elektra.
Elektra, and the Pearls from Dark Knight Returns.
Right.
There's very just shot by shot. I mean, Wolverine Hellfire Club. Is always
in the sewer.
Yeah, in the sewer, which is maybe the only real time he's ever went berserk, like legitimately, but whatever. Which is weird. But yeah, so iconic comic book scene now is the linchpin of the new DC universe.
Well, the whole thing is that he's examining the button, and he's looking at it now. And then he puts the button down, and this actually links with the earlier.
So I'm just pouring some Red Bull here.
It links with the earlier run. So this was issue 18 or 19 of Batman, and the beginning of that run, the Psycho Pirate is just crazy. Now, the Psycho Pirate ended Crisis in 1986. He remembered everything. It actually ends. That book ends with him just going like, "I remember everything. I know all of it."
Right.
So the Psycho Pirate does some things in the first few issues of this run. He teams up. Was he teaming up with Bane? I forget. He teams up with a couple villains. But essentially, the mask, he gets thrown into Arkham. Batman has the mask. The mask is sitting on a table.
Yeah.
The button gets near it and creates a electroshock.
Right.
Of which the Reverse Flash... Well, I think he calls the Flash, right? He says, "Hey, can you come over here?" And Flash is like, "I'm doing something. I'll be there in 1 minute."
Right. Okay. And then... that 1 minute now is the rest of
the whole comic.
It's which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, I like that. I think that's pretty great. Yeah. So they took apart maybe 15 pages of the book, taking it panel to panel. That once that spark happens, the Reverse Flash shows up. Eobard Thawne shows up, and just says he just starts to beat the crap out of Batman.
Yeah, right.
He just and Batman can't. He says, "I don't need." Batman has contingency plans for everything, yes, but he needs to just stay alive for 1 minute. That's his whole goal. He's like, I just need to stay alive for a minute.
Yeah.
And then Flash will be here. Because when it first shows up and he can kind of feel and see lightning, he's like, oh, you're early. That's what he says.
Yeah,
which is kind of great.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then Reverse Flash just beats the shit out of Batman.
Yeah. And look, I like even that, but that's why like always in comics you have to just accept things, because like you either accepted that Batman's smart enough to outwit the entire Justice League, including a Kryptonian mind that could read any library on Earth in less than a minute. He's still smarter than that guy, but he can get quickly caught off guard by speedsters that can run through existence. Like it's almost as if like he needs superpowers. Batman needs superpowers.
No, he's the peak human. He's the peak of human existence.
Okay, so at this point, Flash shows up, and is that the end of?
That's the end of that Batman issue. Then when it goes to Flash, I think Flash says, we need to get the cosmic treadmill,
right,
and then go find where did Eobard Thawne go with the button. We need the button back.
Wait,
does he steal the button? I don't know. I read it. We were fresh for it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
we both read it right away.
He may run. I thought he follows the energy signature, and then comes back and dies.
Well, he ends up in when they chase him.
He runs to God.
But when they chase,
I can't believe, like.
But when they chase him, they end up at Flashpoint. They end up seeing and meeting Batman's dad.
Yes.
They meet Thomas Wayne, and that flows through the next part of it. And what ends up happening is there's a specific speech that Batman, very much like a Kevin Costner-esque, says, this part of the Flashpoint existence is going to be eaten alive. It should have ended. So that was the point. The Flash was like, this shouldn't be here. This doesn't make any sense. Everything here is done. And he's like, not exactly. And part of it is a kind of concept is that whatever
power
Thomas needs to say this to Bruce. So he tells Bruce, he's like, you don't need to, same thing. You don't need to do this. What if you didn't? Like, what if you did not? And what's interesting, and like you said, like at the end of that Batman issue, the last part of it was the lights on, and he's just kind of staring at it, like
and I think some of the undertone of that scene too, just the way how I read it, was that when Flash is like, this shouldn't be here. This like he might even say like this is right, or I thought this was destroyed. That another power above him kept it, deemed that universe not to die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which kind of it makes it anything post Flashpoint very confusing at that point. Just makes it all really confusing. So they were hinting towards a higher power, with that scene, which I thought it read very well. Just good storytelling, great paneling.
How did that work for you? I mean, considering that they did paneling that was very similar. They did 9-panel grids for some parts.
Yeah.
You had Jason Fabok doing the Batman parts, and then you had Howard Porter, which you commented the last time, who's from the 95 Justice League book with Grant Morrison.
Strictly digital now, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Howard Porter was always it's always someone DC wanted to be. They wanted him to be a superstar, and he could not.
And he wasn't ready yet. He wasn't. That's the thing, and it was kind of a shame.
I remember him leaving. I remember reading that he left to do web design.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, he was going to pursue web design and graphic design and that sort of thing, and commercial art, and then I don't know. He disappeared for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, but then when he came back, he started this kind of newer style.
Yeah. And he became an artist.
Yeah.
By that point.
I really like his style. What I liked about I just thought it was
Well,
It's real crisp.
He's got fantastic camera movements.
Mhm.
And you know what? Like, all of these guys come back with, if you do like from the school of Liefeld, like Dane Panosian, Dane Fraga, they come back with like a European-driven background style, but with like American angles, meaning that like there's like 5-point perspective being used. There's tech within tech within tech. Like just awesome use of just like negative wide open spaces, and like he came back on fire. He's there's very few people I'd like now drawing comics.
Yeah, I was surprised because I think that sometimes when you peek back in, you're just like, what the? I can't even start anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
like we had the conversation, like, hey man, you know what's good? And see, like, I'm in it, so if anything, it's kind of hard. Like, so if something says something, if you're in it for a long period of time, sometimes you don't know it's bad. Like, sometimes you watch Walking Dead, and you watch Walking Dead for years and years and years, and then one episode you watch, and you're like, this has been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's been slowly degrading, so I don't know if it's any good anymore. Like, so I don't know. Then you can come in at fresh eyes and then say, you know what? Yeah, this is garbage. Or so it's hard because I don't leave. I never left.
You're like the guy that was invited to sleep on the couch one night.
I never left.
Never left.
I never left. Here I am. That's not untrue. Part of my life a year or two ago. That's not exactly untrue.
Yeah, and I am
just couch surfing.
Yeah, and I am like I'm the individual that like I guess like snapped from the war. Like I went to Vietnam and it drove me crazy, and like just hearing the word Vietnam makes me like flip the F out because I know about that war. Like I know about that. I've seen too much horror and blood.
Too much.
And I view it like because like a lot of the girls that I date listen to this, and they go into Dream Warriors with a different idea. Their idea is that Pete loves comic books. He loves movies. He loves it so much. He's doing this, and he does it all the time, and he does it with his friends and his sister, and he does shows on his own, and this is how much he loves it. And I get it because they'll listen to it and they'll ask me questions sometimes like as they're listening to it. Most of them can't follow what we're talking about ever. But they'll tell me something. They'll be like, Pete, I got something to tell you. And I'm always like, I'm so hopeful. Like every single time I'm like your friend likes me too, right? Like, like you're Amy, right? You and Amy, like the two guys, like we can do this. I have a queen size bed. We could there's the two you
how did that go?
The two you combined weigh 160 pounds. Like 260 pounds, whatever. Like whatever arithmetic works there. But no. And then they'll be like, "Well, Pete, I don't really like superhero movies. I've never seen Star Wars," and they think because of Dream Warriors that it's like that's like a deal breaker. They think it's a deal breaker.
For me, it would be a deal breaker.
Okay, and I'm like, thank God.
The only reason I'm in a relationship now is because I wore a Star Wars shirt on a dating site. That's actually true.
On the date, what dating site?
It was on Bumble.
Bumble.
Yeah, I had a BBH. My famous ugly BBH shirt.
Do you pay for Bumble? Bumble, you pay for, right?
No.
You don't pay for Bumble.
No, you can buy an upgraded thing because then you can see the people that match with you if you buy it upgrade.
Okay. But so
Bumble's, you know what Bumble? So Bumble is Tinder.
Right, it's Tinder, but the girls approve.
They can only
line of communication.
If you match, then if they talk to you, you have 24 hours to respond, but you can never write to them.
Oh, that's like Hinge. That's like another site called Hinge. Okay, so I love it when girls tell me they this and that. I love it.
You like it when they say I don't.
Because.
So if someone said I haven't seen Star Wars, I would block them. And be like, that's it.
Yeah, I'm like, look,
it's over.
I'm like, I get it. The movie sucks. Like, who cares? like I would be more upset if you didn't like know about this or know about like there's like other things that I'm more concerned with than someone not seeing.
There's nothing I'm concerned with
Yeah.
besides Star Wars.
So part of like part of the point I'm making is that like one of us like comes from a world of like embracing this, like full embrace, like reading every Thor, reading every Batman, not leaving the couch, okay, and
I don't leave.
and the counterpart wants it burned to the ground, okay, because I do have like a negative like point of view on the culture and how the culture kind of for a larger extent it doesn't like improve I think it takes away the manhood. I think it rolls in negative like financial practices, like like owning every single edition of DVDs and like hunting I was having drinks with this really sexy Asian girl on Sunday, and I was like we were talking a little bit about this, and I said, look, and I'm not even exaggerating. One of my guy friends in Jersey, I'm not gonna say who he was, is driving around looking for a Funko Pop thing, one of the Funko fucks, okay? And we were talking about this, and she's like, yeah, she's one of the girls. She's like, yeah, I've never seen any of the superhero movies. I'm like, oh, thank God. And I said, right now, I have a friend of mine trying to find a Funko Pop. I explained to her what the hell a Funko Pop is, okay? And I said, I'm here having Long Island pictures, because not glasses, pictures, with a sexy Asian girl. Like, which of the two? Like, like, would anybody rather do? And the guy hunting...
It's a thrill of the hunt. It's a different hunt.
And the
it's
guy,
a completely different
and
hunt.
the guy hunting for the Funko Pop easily could be in my shoes. Easily. Okay? But the thing is, though, there are psychological reasons to why that's not pursued. And that's a part of, like, the deeper psychological, like, structure dichotomy that the collecting culture and the geek culture, the geek core, as we call it a lot, it breeds it. It wants it. It invites it in. Okay? And it's so tough. I even think, like, if we're talking about Wonder Woman and role models real quick, I mean, who in comics, like, would you ever say is a role model? Right. See? You can pick nearly any other industry, and you give role models up and down. Personal struggle, like political stance, innovation with like ostracized within the industry, innovation within the industry.
Yeah, you can get the first person that came to mind in like is like Jeff Bezos, where no one I told him Amazon would fail.
Yeah. Right. Or like it goes on and on. Okay, but the point though is that like, and I'm not saying there's nothing like wrong, but I guess just to make a quick point though, it's that there's like a dissection of that mindset that happens on Dream Warriors that makes the show like what it is. Like I'm so interested in that. Like even when I sit down with Norm, like I kind of want to know why he's so into like a DVD, because and I'm not saying you're like this now. Like Norm wants the Steelbook. It's $50. Okay. 2 days from now, he may not have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, but he's got that Steelbook now for $50. So what's more important, owning the Steelbook or knowing and watching the movie and absorbing the content of the movie? And it's like, so what's I think more people are into the Steelbook than they are into the actual movie, which is why you have the worst movies on earth. And like some of them are $80 edition Steelbooks, and they're limited to like 2,000, and you're like, what?
Resident Evil 4 Steelbook.
Yeah, it's like what?
So hot.
Yeah, and they'll drive around to Best Buys looking for.
No, I know. Yeah.
Looking for those, and it's interesting. So okay, so we have let's just leapfrog with the button real quick. Do you want to get to the point of?
Well, I guess the big thing is that I should have. So the original the original question was, is it because of the movie? And I don't know. I think it's always in the consciousness of everyone who's looking at comic books right now, especially in DC, and they're trying to pull it into that. So they're trying to pull basically Dr. Manhattan in that universe. Or they did a series a couple years ago called Before Watchmen, and it was all just mini series by good creators. It did pretty well, but it didn't break any barriers.
No, a lot of
some of them were good, some of them were okay.
Yeah, a lot of people. I knew more people that were happier with them than
I was pretty happy with them for the most part. The ones that were the best ones, Len Wein wrote a Dr. Manhattan one that was just fantastic, and Jay Lee drew that, and then Darwin Cook did one of the Minutemen. Great.
Wait, no. Jay Lee did the Ozymandias.
That's what. Yeah. The Dr. Manhattan was It was J. Michael Straczynski and Adam Hughes. That was also really good.
Yeah.
The one that wasn't great was the comedian wasn't great.
Which is weird, right?
Right. That should be the easiest one.
The best one. Yeah. Okay. So, quick side note. Ready for a quick side note? I haven't read those. I haven't. I know the artwork. That's when we were agreeing about Adam Hughes and the Dr. Manhattan. I flipped through them because of the artwork. Right. That awesome collaborations on that. Right. But I am of the mindset of if there's any character that I feel like that would embody me and I would be friends with in the real world right now in my place in adulthood would be Rorschach from Watchmen. Because he's an Ayn Rand disciple. He's based on the question. Steve Ditko is an Ayn Rand disciple. Atlas Shrugged, Fountainhead, Anthem. Read those if anyone hasn't read them. And he's a strictly black and white judge. Okay. Alan Moore got dicked over by DC for a long time. Before Watchmen should never have happened. And I kind of stick to that. In my universe, if he's not going to acknowledge it, I'm not going to acknowledge it. Because in my he knows better than me with this matter, and it's there's other comics I can read to get satisfied, but the Barnes Museum is right down the street here, 10-minute walk from here. The Barnes the city broke a trust for that artwork that fills that museum. They broke a trust, illegally. It took them years to do it, but and they essentially stole that artwork for that museum, for tourist dollars and events that they can hold there and prestige and all these other things. A lot of my friends have been there. Everyone I know kind of goes. I've never been there because I take a principled stance. I take a very principled stance when it comes to the use of the Watchmen characters, because there was a deal in place and DC busted the deal. Right? The deal with Alan Moore was hey, the stuff comes back to you when we're out of print, and DC never put the book out of print.
Right. No, and then they and the one thing too with the royalties, I know that Alan Moore wrote off the royalties, so he doesn't receive any royalty besides the book. Meaning that when the movie came out, he gave Dave Gibbons everything. Yeah. So every bit of money that's involved, I'm not even sure if he's on the credits.
No.
I don't know.
I think he is.
So I know that, and he did the same thing with V for Vendetta. He gave David Lloyd everything.
Yeah.
So that was kind of his MO. And I know he's a crazy magician living in a castle, whatever.
Or something.
You know what I mean? I know that. That's fine.
Something.
So I agree with you in a way. I agree with you in a way. It kind of goes, say the same thing like Gone with the Wind. It had a sequel, right?
Yeah, but...
and that was a fan fiction. And it was kind of approved. You know what I mean?
It's a little bit. Yeah, I mean, sometimes through the estates, it gets weird with the children. Lord of the Rings, believe it or not, has had similar. Dune, there's a huge run of Dune prequel books that the son, Brian Herbert,
Right.
wrote. Okay, and you're like, what is this? You're like, why? Like, this doesn't even need to exist. And the son's like, well, I'm not doing anything. Like, yeah, I guess I ain't develop anything else in life. So, like, those are a little bit different. They're case by case. I don't know enough about each one. I don't know enough about the Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, like, like, comic books are still kind of like in my DNA. I'm still, like, I just love them. I'm still highly interested in them. They're just not life anymore, despite, like, the current state right now that I'm in. But it's almost like is nothing sacred. Like, as a geek, as a nerd, as a fan of comics, there's very few things that are sacred. Like, and this was one of them. And seeing it ripped apart by DC, because, in my view, they're just creatively bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Just no, and I'm not saying what they're doing with the Button, what they're doing with Dr. Manhattan, or if Dr. Manhattan's orchestrated, right? Because that's a little ambiguous still.
They're kind of saying he created the Rebirth universe and kind of like and he's fixed everything. He's new anti-monitor.
Yeah. Okay. Even with all of that, I think that's an awesome effing story. Like, if someone told me that, and they were like, yeah, and, like 10, 15 years ago, I would have been like, what? Like, yo, like, okay. But it's still kind of like, man, it just seems corrupted and wrong to me. It feels dirty.
Well, it's weird because, like, we talked today, this week, tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
It's
What's that? Today's Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Yeah, it's going to be hump day soon.
So either maybe it was
ready.
last week or maybe it's tomorrow. I'm not sure. I know the Dark Knight 3 ends tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we say that you don't want the creator to come back. So when Frank Miller did Dark Knight 2, no one liked it.
No one.
I don't like it. I see different elements that I like in it, but I don't like it. And then he did 3, which he supposedly plotted, but it's almost unreadable in my opinion. It's completely unreadable.
That's a universal thought across the board when it comes
that like
to
it's
3.
Right, and it took a long time, and it was supposed to be 6 issues, and it wasn't. Then now it's 9 issues, and it was late, and it was strange because they had Azzarello plotting it and scripting it. He was plotting it with Miller. Andy Cooper did his best Frank Miller impression sometimes.
Yeah.
And then it was inked by Klaus Janson, which is interesting because he came back to do it, and he made it look more like Miller. But it's just a weird. It just doesn't. I don't know. It's just a mess. Like I don't like it.
Well,
because it's contingent upon that you had to 2 is completely canon, and 2 is almost unreadable.
Yeah.
So I have to read 1 and 2. So that being said, if you come back, they say you can't come home again. Like if you come back and then you mess around with it, it doesn't work. And then I wish 2 and 3 didn't exist. And whereas I think that the Before Watchmen, I'm fine in an afternoon to read it, and it can be there or cannot be there. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But with this, how do you feel? Like I should have a problem with this. I should have a problem with him being brought in. But I thought the product was good. I just thought it was good.
No, I think it's not. I think
and I think it worked. I think it was very high quality writing, art, coloring, execution.
I don't think any of that. I don't disagree with any of that. I think it is. I think it's when it comes to this level of event in comics, the expectation, the hype, all of it. It totally delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I more have a conflict with why does this exist more than anything, and I can get past that too. And I wanted to read it because I know you were excited for it. I thought it would be good for us to talk about, and I wanted to discuss it within the framework, with framing it that should it exist, because there's a lot of reviews online, there's a lot of talk on YouTube, a lot of other podcasts, and no one wants to address this little thing, which is really weird because these people will say that they love comics.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say this, they'll say all these platitude BS like pussy things. They'll just be wimps, and they don't stain for anything, and which is weird because comics have characters that are black and white and stain for things and draw lines in the dirt. These are all things. Like, these are the things you love about what comic book characters do. None of these people can do that in their lives, which is, I cannot understand it. I cannot understand how they support Stan Lee. I'm not saying hate him, but give him this blind adulation is beyond. I do not even understand it. I can't even get it. I can't even get into like the arena, into like the sport, into the ballpark, but understanding it because it's so easily, so easily when you just dig around, you're just like man, okay, show up in like the Fantastic Four movie because you co-created that, or don't show up in like the Wolverine movie and Deadpool. And like all these other things you had nothing to do with. You had nothing to do with that stuff.
Right.
Okay. And whatever. Like, we're not discussing that. But so, just you want to run down how the button wraps up, story wise.
Yeah. So essentially, he still dies. So Reverse Flash still dies.
Yeah.
It basically comes back that Reverse Flash still dies, and nothing really changed. So, except for that the button's still there.
Yeah.
But the big ramification is that there is some there is some outlier force that is Dr. Manhattan probably influencing the DCU. There is a miniseries coming. It ends with a few pages with.
It ends with a Dave Gibbons Watchmen grid. That is yellow, 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 and it blends into the Superman S, and at that point it blends into the Watchmen Doomsday Clock, right?
Right, and then the miniseries coming out called Superman Doomsday Clock by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. Now, I read about this today just to kind of look it up to refresh.
Gary Frank's a good parent.
Yeah, it's
right?
going to be the same. Yeah, because it's going to be the same Superman team from the few years back. So
Origin, Superman Origin.
Whatever they call it.
That was a fantastic. That was, if I had to pick that over Rebirth, the Mark Waid Rebirth.
I like Rebirth because I like the Kryptonian concepts, but I do think that it was Secret Origin. I don't remember.
Yeah,
what it's
it felt like Superman. Like when you read that.
Well, also it didn't hurt that he looked exactly like Christopher. He drew him like Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, and why not?
But there's going to be no crossovers. There's going to be no additional one shots with that. It's going to be very contained. So I'm very curious on what they're going to do with this. I know that it may have ramifications, but I do like that. Like, this Batman run, I think, has been one of the best Batman runs I've read. It was a nice refresher since the Snyder that I thought just kind of kept going deeper, deeper, and deeper, and doing just it was just a lot of scripting, and I liked the different things he did with it, but it was exhausting towards the end.
He got 90s into Batman from a story perspective, not meaning that. Everything had to have a new take. Okay, and that is he took his own red pill. He took his own red pill for that.
It was very damaging.
And you're just like, wait a minute. The Riddler's the first villain? Like, wait a minute. This is the Joker's history now? Like,
well, there's 3 Joker histories.
Right. Oh, yeah.
There's 3 Jokers.
Is what? Okay.
And that's holding.
And where's the Joker with the dragon tattoo? Where's that one at?
I don't think he exists. You talking about the All-Star Joker, Batman and Robin or something? Was that All-Star Batman and Robin?
One of them, whenever you Google image Joker...
He had a huge dragon tattoo on his
back. So
yeah. That's a Jim Lee drawing, I don't know.
What's that?
I think it was in the Frank Miller, All-Star Batman universe.
Why would you even do that in an alternate...
Because you can.
Even in, an...
because Jim Lee wanted to draw it. It probably wasn't even in the script. The script probably wasn't even done. It was a crazy Frank Miller on the goddamn Batman.
Got mixed up and was like... Damn it! I'll just put the Joker face on this guy.
Someone I know was in
the page out.
San Diego, and he went to San Diego Comic-Con. He was at a place where they were having sushi and dumplings and stuff like that, right? And Jim Lee literally was at the next table with his gigantic family. He has 8 or 9 kids. Why not? You know what I mean? And he texts me. He's like, "What do I do? Do I just ask him and go up to him? Yeah, you know what I mean? Go up to him and be like, yeah, man, hey." thanks. Like, you know what I mean? Just say thanks. Just say like that. I think that's the nicest thing. And just say, hey, man, I don't want to interrupt your dinner. Just thanks so much. That's all I would say.
Yeah.
You know, if I see people outside of the norm, you know, but to kind of pull it back to this, this Batman, I should have a problem with all this stuff, and I don't. And I don't know if it's because I'm in it, and that's why I thought it was interesting if you read it, if you would have a problem with it because you're not in it. Like, I feel like sometimes I'm so in it, I can't see the forest for the trees. I'm in it.
I would agree with some of that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think you're in.
I'm happily naive about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's part of my thing. Like, because I love.
Yeah,
I'm very passionate. I love I'm
Yeah.
a big silver linings guy, and like to me, it's like I look at like even
Yeah.
the little problems, the things that bug me, and we can go right into Riverdale if you want, because certain things you didn't like.
we could
Riverdale.
go right into let's go into. Okay, so what? At the end of the day, I do want to say this. I think from a craftsmanship standpoint, the button and a lot of the things you brought up now, it seems like they're handling this in a different manner. They're handling it with more care, and again, they got some of the best guys in the last 20 years working on these books.
Yeah.
Okay, from a craftsmanship standpoint, I think it's a fantastic effort. I think from a starting point, might be like I'm a little bit on the outskirts of this, but I would say the build up into X-Men Onslaught, which had like a long draw and like a march, and was like probably the last great story of the X-Men. Like similar but not as well defined. This seems very deliberate and defined. The lessons of event fatigue seem to have been learned in the comic industry, and they're using that to their marketing advantage.
Yeah, DC's not doing anything. I mean, we're not even maybe a quarter of the way into Secret Empire, and everyone is exhausted
Yeah.
already. And they know how fast they have to put it out. They put it out almost 2 to 3 times a month.
Yeah.
They know how quickly they have to finish Secret
I
Empire.
can't even keep up with like where's it at now? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna just be gone soon.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. Everyone's
awesome.
already in the mindset of like that's the one thing. So for as much as we don't love that DC restarts, we also don't love that Marvel keeps reinventing the wheel. So they keep changing something that is not going to be there in a couple months.
Yeah, I think
But they're going to reset it again, and Spider-Man's going to be Spider-Man, and it's going to be that.
Yeah, I think they're
like,
completely broken now for a decent stretch, because everything post Secret War, like the Secret Wars, the decisions around that miniseries and what came out of it baffled the heck out of me. I don't understand like how you just put these alternate versions of characters into like a normal continuity and kind of like just say like, hey,
Man Logan.
Yeah, like, hey, like here we are. Here's the Spider-Gwen and the Silk stuff. Just I'm like what? Like,
I kind of put it on Wolverine is that I kind of go back to they never should have done Origin. They never.
Yeah.
So to me, they did Origin. They did a book called Origins, which was awful.
Which was about 2 years, right? That was a 2 year.
I think longer than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the point is that
nice covers though.
Wolverine didn't need explaining.
No.
So they explain him out to a certain point where he's completely boring and pointless. So they kill him, and then they bring a future version of him back from a pretty good series that Mark Millar did, a little kind of Dark Knight Returns-ish sort of thing, kind of a throwaway. It was like Elseworlds. It was kind of like a Marvel What If.
Yeah, and that's one of their few What Ifs that like kind of was continuity, but not like it was.
But now they're just beating it down. Then they had a miniseries during Secret Wars, then they did an ongoing series.
Yeah.
Lemire's button on that. So Jeff Lemire did again. I've read Wolverine. So when I say that, I mean I've read it.
Yeah.
I've read Wolverine, so I've read every issue of Wolverine. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I read Old Man Logan. So when Old Man Logan finished up, the most recent issue was like 24, 25, and right before the Secret, it has to go to Secret Empire.
Yeah.
So the creative team that's on it now leaves because they're like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
But it buttoned really well. It actually buttoned up really good, and I could just be like, okay, my series just don't do any more, and then like next issue,
look,
and then but
I
guess
think-
what? Tomorrow it's coming out. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm reading it
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow. At like 9 a.m. I'll be reading that Wolverine book.
I think the so much of Marvel in my eyes, like because they were so linear. I'm always happy when I define like when I think a character's arc has like ended. Like I say, like the whole Marvel universe ended with Onslaught. Like that was the end of what started in the 60s. Like Onslaught finished it. Okay, to me, like the Wolverine run finished when they hit 125, and they had all the women of his life confront him, which was very confusing even then. And but the culmination going into 125, like almost like ended Wolverine's like journey and arc, and to me like that is it. The Punisher ended when he turned black.
That's the best. That's the best two issues. And Luke Cage. Do you know Luke Cage?
Yeah.
In Harlem. Way to go.
Yeah. No, I'm just joking. Punisher ended when they actually killed him. Right?
They chopped him up.
They killed him.
And then they Frankensteined him.
What? Hey,
And
no.
they threw him into a Frankenstein.
No, wait. They killed him, and then he came back as a guardian angel in Revelations with Wolverine.
I forgot they killed him. That was the first time they killed him, and
Yeah.
Nick Fury killed him, I think, right?
I thought
that's right.
I think I killed by the electric chair, right? He got arrested. That was like in the 80s. It's like 86,
Oh,
I
don't
think.
know. I thought that was the Edge. They had the...
We have to double check this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to fact check it.
But
You're right. Then he was the Guardian Angel, which was drawn by dude
Pat Lee.
just passed away.
Oh,
Later, yes. So, but the first main series was Bernie Wrightson.
Yes.
So Bernie Wrightson.
Oh, yeah, with the Joe Druska
Right.
covers. Yes. That was Marvel Knights? Was it Marvel Knights? Yeah.
Yep.
That's when the wheels started to fall off the wagon for Marvel Knights.
Well,
Like, you just can't put Marvel Knights on the... Marvel Knights was a representation
there was always
of an idea.
there was always half good Marvel Knights books and always half not good Marvel Knights books. Like, because even when then there was the middle, which was the Black Panther book, which you're it was acclaimed, but no one read it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It was always
Christopher
like
Priest. Gotta read Christopher Priest. Like,
there was
it
like two guys that read it,
endlessly. Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah, and do you remember...
Man ape.
Do you remember the the Marvel Knights Wave 2? But it's kind of funny because all the characters that they picked for Wave 2 are huge characters now. Like, they rebooted Doctor Strange. They brought Black Widow back as Black Widow blonde hair. Like, there was Black Widow blonde.
Yeah, so you had the Rugged J.G. Jones, Black Widow. You had... What was the first thing you said?
Doctor Strange.
Okay, so that was the Tony Harris, Dan
Yeah.
Jolly.
And
then
good artwork, too.
Yeah, well, the first
For that.
3 issues, and then the last issue, strangely drawn by Paul Chadwick, creator of Concrete, trying to do his best
Yeah.
impression of Tony Harris. Well, Tony Harris is a hothead, so he left, I think, in the middle of for some stupid reason.
Yeah,
So-
well, he's isn't that everything almost?
He
for him?
leaves everything.
Yeah.
I think he just left. He never finished the War Heroes with Millar for some reason.
Did he ever finish? Is he one of the people that raised a lot of money on Kickstarter for something? I want to say he has an unfinished project on Kickstarter and
It's
hasn't
possible.
refunded the money. I
Ugh.
almost want to say, and what was his? Did he have like a Top Cow book?
That was War Heroes with, I think that might have been Top Cow was Millar,
Okay,
and War Heroes did like 1 or 2 issues.
I know it's linked to something that he
He didn't finish it.
create or something.
He
But
I
anyway.
think co-created with Millar. I think it was not a Millar World book. It
Okay.
never became it because he never finished it.
Yeah, interesting. Let's just go to Riverdale.
Okay, so since episode 10 maybe, I was like, hey man,
I couldn't find any enabled video skills. Those are the music.
Oh, that's
that
Alexa.
Alexa?
Oh my god, dude, I was scared there for like a second.
Alexa's
Alexa,
joining
stop.
the show.
Complete setup.
What is she talking about?
I don't know.
She's talking about
I must have
setup.
said something.
We talk about she likes Riverdale. She doesn't like Riverdale.
I don't know, man. You just pissed off Alexa.
I know. She just went to reset.
My Amazon.
She just reset. She's like, you know what? I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
either.
she's like North Korean H-bomb. We're dead. Okay.
So I think episode might have been as early as episode 10. I've been like, hey man, the WB did a Betty and Veronica spin. There's a murder. It's kind of like Twin Peaks. They stunt-casted a bunch of the parents, and I like it. I like the atmosphere. I think it looks cool. It almost looks like it's in the 50s. And you're like, I'll check it out. And then it hit either Netflix. Netflix a couple weeks ago. I think you might have caught it.
And I was like super happy because we just did like an episode.
Right.
I think we might did an episode like on a Thursday or a Friday.
I think it wasn't quite over. I think when we talked about it, it had like one episode left, or 1 or 2 episodes left.
I remember it was a Monday
13.
night. I had one of the girls here because we watch I don't know. We watched something on Monday. We watched like The Bachelorette together on Monday nights, which is an insane show to begin with.
Good for you.
And and it was finished, and we put it on Netflix, and it was there, and I'm like, oh, let's just watch this. So we watched like the first 2 episodes, and I was like, yo, I'm like, what is this? Like, this is nuts. Like, it just blew me away. Like, just, and we were kind of texting a little bit. Like, the next day, I was, okay. I stuck with it, like, as long as I could. I got into, like, I think I'm in 9. Was it 13 episodes?
13, yeah, you didn't finish it.
I could not.
Yeah.
As of right now, I can't watch more than 5 or 6 minutes of that show. I can't listen to them talk. They're hot too. I love the girls in it. Like, I love Jughead too. He's a good looking dude. Archie's like hot. Like they're all just like hot, sexy models, and
right.
And even the old people are like bangable old.
Well,
which I like.
It's all stunt cast at a certain level. I mean, Betty Cooper's mother, Alice Cooper, not Alice Cooper, like Rockstar Alice Cooper, but continuity-wise, yes, Alex Cooper.
Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, continuity-wise, that is her name, Alice Cooper. So I just thought, I was like, they didn't even change it. I just like that they never changed anything. So, like, F.P. Jones is, like, Forsyth Percival Jones the third, and Jughead's the fourth. Like, they don't change anything. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of works. They did the Kevin Keller. They do the police chief. So I feel that they did. They do have the Blossom twins. There was no Empire. There was none of that stuff. Actually, the Blossom twins now in comic book continuity, like the father's actually not the father. They're adopted or something. Like there's some, or that's not the dad. Or so they're doing something with that in the comic books now. But they did a spin a few years back that Mark Waid and Fiona Staples did, and it was a direction. Post a horror series they did called Afterlife with Archie that was just like a modern Archie, and what if they did this?
So the writer for that,
Afterlife with Archie, yes.
Yeah, so he tried to do a play at one point. What's the guy's name?
Roberto Aguirre Sacasa.
Yeah. Okay. He tried to do a stage play at one point that had all the Archie characters as gay. Archie does a cease and desist letter. They go back and forth. He changes the name of the characters and the name of the play. I would think it was called like Comic Booking or some stupid name like that. He does Afterlife with Archie. At that point, he becomes chief creative.
So from lawsuit, they hire him.
Yeah. So he becomes chief creative officer. He's now the COO or the CCO of Archie Entertainment, and he's the one that he's the showrunner of Riverdale. He spearheads it. Wrote episodes 1, 2, I think 12 and 13. May have directed one. I think in the middle. Not 100. I'm just running things off the top of my head here. Your enthusiasm for the show. Us talking Elseworlds earlier of how cool like the What If and Elseworlds ideas are with archetypes. It kind of like just the premise alone, curiosity, sparked my interest. Wanted me to watch it. Even like the neon font for Riverdale for like the like just for that, like the March score, the March theme that goes into the title sequence for Riverdale is just awesome. Really cool stuff. Like so much worked in I think episodes 1 and 2, and then to me where it fell apart, it wasn't Archie, nor was it episodes 1 and 2 anymore. It became a sloppy Dawson's Creek, and it's really hard to compare these shows to Kevin Williamson when he was writing Dawson's Creek, when he was the Golden Child, okay, because he created that type of interaction of teenagers versus adults versus self-discovery versus puberty and angst. No one defined it as well as I think Kevin Williams did. People have been trying to imitate him ever since. Gilmore Girls, like The Most Guilty, maybe J.J. Abrams with Felicity a little bit, but Felicity had a heart of her own. So what became the disconnect of this show was also there's one chick in one of these offices that she has a boyfriend. I really don't care, but she has like just this tall, sexy blonde, but also always wearing heels and clocking around with heels, and her butt just moves like awesome and perfect. And we talk TV, and I kind of fake talk TV with her because I just want to talk to her because I just get like I fumble my words and just get batty around her, like so she just start drooling like a cartoon. And one day I'm like, hey, and this is when I was hyped for Riverdale. I was still into the show. I'm like, hey, do you know about Riverdale? Like, have you watched this thing? And she goes, what is that? She goes, is that like the Archie thing, the Archie comic thing? And I'm like, yeah, but it's, and then that's when I realized, I'm like, the show can't be any more successful than what it already is. The premise alone, people came and, like, no one would want to watch an Archie show that's truthful, like in tone and style. No. This thing, you have to explain it to people. You just have to explain why it's cool. Things that are cool and things that are like awesome and significant, like or you just know they're cool. You don't have to tell people why the Punisher is cool. You don't here's a you got skull on his chest. Now take it. Okay? Like you don't have to explain it, any of it. Archie was cool for the first 2 episodes. Because
he's not supposed to be cool. Like that's the point. I think they do have Archie wrong. He's the most wrong.
I'm not saying Archie.
Yeah.
When I say Archie, I mean Riverdale. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Riverdale hedged the bet. They hedged the bet in those early episodes. Okay. Look, I can go on a similar tangent with House of Cards, which, in my opinion, for when it was awesome, probably still is. Maybe like top 5 best written shows in television history. Okay. House of Cards. The wheels fell off the wagon. It jumped the shark. Episode 8, season 5, and I can explain that right down to the T of how they betrayed themselves. Okay, but Archie hedged this bet, or Riverdale hedged this bet. Okay, and the bet was that we're going to be hyper. We're going to like Rob Liefeld this. We're going to be maximum and extreme and awesome. We're going to be the 90s era Vince McMahon Attitude Era WWE wrestling. It was WWE because they got sued for the Federation, and they were get the F out. That was their tagline. Get the F out. They turned a failed lawsuit that they lost into a marketing campaign. Okay? We're going to 90s extreme Archie. We're going to call it Riverdale. Archie's going to have a 6-pack. Betty Veronica going to give you boners the whole time. Jughead's going to be a blogger, okay? And we're some kid's going to get shot. It's all going to start with some kid getting shot. Oh, and Archie's banging the music teacher. And guess what? He also loves music. They are like, he's going to be a music guy. We're going to get him music.
He's always been a
what she
music
always
guy.
was. Yeah. But we're going to like stick to that, okay? All right. And you're like, oh, okay.
And then like we'll put on top of that, like I don't disagree with that, but I also like that they know it, they're aware of it, and they also stunt cast out.
Yes.
So they have like, you know, they have Luke Perry from 90210, they have
Yeah.
Hermione Lodges from the OC, like everyone's in it. Molly Ringwald
That's
shows
what I mean.
up,
I want to bang all the parents
you know,
in this show.
So imagine, and like most obvious is Well, to me, Twin Peaks, they have Matt Janamick, who's Shelley
Yeah.
on Twin
Oh.
Peaks, and she's on this show.
Yeah, you said
Alice
that before,
Cooper. So
yeah.
I was like, okay. And then they have Skeet Ulrich show up, and
Yeah.
who's awesome. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think he's freaking awesome. in
So-
it. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm on board. I 100% agree. This is the betrayal of Riverdale. Okay, so the dynamic that anyone that's in tune with Archie, anyone that knows what it is, you know it's a love triangle. They defined that love triangle as non-existent early. They said he is banging the teacher. It is the forbidden fruit. I even love the Netflix thumbnail for the show, which is him and her in the Volkswagen Beetle with the rain and the sex smoke fogging from the inside. Okay.
The Titanic sex smoke in
Yeah,
the car.
dude, hardcore, gritty, like neon highlights on top of that car, like just something.
Yeah, the lighting, everything is pretty good
visceral
quality, cool. Yeah.
dream. This is like a visceral dream.
It looks like it. They have it filtered. It
Yeah.
looks.
Okay. You're like, yes, because like what they're doing now is they are shooting Superman from Krypton. They're shooting him from Krypton, and the rotation of the Earth. He's now landing in Russia. He is not landing in Kansas, USA. He is in a communistic dictatorship. He is being run by a guy responsible. Even by the time he lands in that story in Red Sun, Stalin's already responsible for about 6 million deaths. He's like way beyond Hitler, even then. Okay, so this is what they're doing. And it is awesome. It feels great. It feels great that they didn't go to the love triangle early, the easy play. They did something ballsy and hard and original, and it was dirty to watch. It's a tough, dirty show for those first two episodes. Okay, the betrayal was they kicked that. They kicked the girl. They kicked the teacher. They lose that drama. They lose that struggle. They lose that that forbidden fruit. They get okay, and then at that point, the show does not even know what to do with itself, because they go into kind of like the Archie Veronica weird love triangle, but then he's with the Josie and the Pussycat Girl, and then Jughead's with Betty. Okay. What is happening? Like, so this show it lost its steam early, and even now when I watch it, like there's so many different threads. There's too many threads. When it was a line at one point, and it had like this path that you like the gang, even Skeet Ulrich's side could have been, and now they're like. Luke Perry's trying to get a construction contract, and the getting beat up over digging holes or whatever, and I'm just like, none of that is interesting. None of what they're doing is interesting to me as much as like what the potential was. And shows make a bet like that. They go in like heavy with these promises, and I lose interest as soon as they fail on those promises, and I try, like with this, I did try and stick around because you loved it so much, and I'm just like, dude, he's spending like $9,000 to take pictures with these people at Comic-Con. I was like, he is like doing so much work, and he has like such a joy for this, and I'm telling you, because like we could probably document some of my like breakdown in those text messages. Where I'm like, dude, like I told you, like I'm done with 8, and then I think the next night I was like, I gave it another shot. I'm done with like 9. Like I even get, like I'm not even done 9. I got like minutes into it.
I know it falls apart like mid, but to me it's like I think that the through line is so full, and I'm just so used to seasons. And then I think we talked about this last episode where like I don't believe in the concept of like oh, you got to get through the first season, and then by season 4,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, wait a second. Like, to me, this kind of grabbed me, and it had enough momentum in, and I feel
Yeah.
that the last couple episodes, and even the stuff that, like, I still, like, I don't think is great. I don't care. Like, to me, it's like, I think that it succeeds on a lot of levels, so I just leave it.
Yeah,
I'm just fine with it.
Do you think it's trying to be too cute? Do you think it's...
Well, yeah, I think it's scripted that way, but I think that's what kind of makes it cheesy, and it's earnest, and it works. Like, I think anything that Cheryl says is golden. Like, anything
Yeah.
she says is, like, ridiculously perfect. I think
Yeah.
she's the best on the show,
Yeah.
hands down.
Yeah, so, like, here's the weird thing. So, sometimes it's just what you choose to accept, period. Like, however that works in your brain. So, like, in my brain, having a model Uhura banging a model-looking Spock in Star Trek, in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, I'm like, yeah, like, who cares, man? They're both hot. Hot people get together.
That's the plan.
Like, hot people get it on, okay? It doesn't, okay, and that is 100% as bad as anything in Riverdale. Okay, from like what I'm saying. I'm kind of saying, like, that they're, like, betraying themselves along the way. But my brain accepts the Star Trek more than Riverdale. For what, okay? And maybe the reasons it's movie versus television, time invested for... I think television builds betrayal into, like, the viewer, because you do make this, like, huge emotional / time investment in the content, and when it goes south, you just want to, like, punch the wall. You just want to, like, kill a cat. I'm all for safety for cats, though.
Right.
We're out. He's behaving tonight. Dallas he's a good little boy.
Where he is?
I don't know. He's just hanging out. He's
Yeah.
probably, I don't know, maybe, but yeah. So, like, so real quick, spoiler. Who killed that schmuck?
Who do you think?
Who killed
Who
that?
do you think did it?
I think the sister did it. The sister didn't
Nope.
do it.
No.
I would say that the sister did it.
No. So
Yeah.
spoilers, like,
Skeet Ulrich,
no.
Jughead,
Nope.
Archie.
No. So you're, like, on 7. See, I thought by moving the teacher out, that was kind of a motive, because at one point that was a misdirect, because they were, like, saying that, well, I also taught, or someone was like, well, she also taught Jason Blossom too. So I thought that there was going to be a mystery where they were trying to kill Archie, that someone was trying to kill Archie, that the ex-husband or something like that, like the guy who put her into, like, witness protection and
You're
shit.
way more into
Like,
it, man.
Well, no, I think I read that online. I didn't, but I read different fan theories. There was tons of fan theories out there.
Mark's
Cheryl,
World is awesome.
I'm always.
Mark's World.
I do. But
Why the hell do you make faces at me then when I tell you let's watch Transformers and I get the Pete's a weirdo look from you
Because
and you got this working
I
in your
don't
head
know.
when you're watching Riverdale.
yeah, I don't know. I just like to me, there's. You know why?
I love it.
I think
I love it.
I think in some ways, and I'm seeing. I think Tuesday I'm seeing Transformers. Tuesday, I think next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Yeah,
So
it
next
comes
Tuesday
out,
I'm
yeah.
seeing it with my girlfriend and her son, and I don't know if I'm excited for it. I don't know. I'm gonna be exhausted. Like, you know what I mean? It's gonna just be exhausting. I'm seeing it in 3D and
Yes.
Regal RPX.
Dude, you're
and I'm
going
just
to
gonna
see.
pass out.
Imagine all the sexy girls you see.
I don't know.
You're gonna see.
Is it his? What is it? Is it his new girlfriend?
I don't even know.
Mark's gonna be like, come
Get
on,
some Victoria's-
come on, Prime, we gotta be okay.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna say, we didn't need to say Prime, okay? He
He's
says
gonna
okay.
have like a tight T-shirt on. His arms gonna be looking good.
I don't know.
It's gonna be
So-
broad shoulders, Mark Wahlberg shoulders.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, like, the show works because the momentum of it and the earnestness through. I thought the last episode. So, essentially, I won't even say who. It doesn't matter. Like, we'll talk off the air. Like, who. I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh
but
no, spoil it.
so, well, I don't know if you. It's on
I wanna
Netflix
know.
now.
I want to know. I want.
I think there's still going to be more to it. So
Okay,
there's going to be
so-
still going to be more to it, but you do find out who kills
Okay,
in the
alright.
episode previously.
So
before.
where does do you know where the show goes from here after the reveal?
Well, and it's funny because if you go on CW now, they literally show you like a 2-minute trailer that shows the entire season of the first season, which is kind of strange, including who kills Jason Blossom, and then
Okay.
including like the capper.
It's like a recap then.
So the end of and that's why I would recommend even just to have it on. Just do your thing. You have so much shit to do around this place. Just have it on. You know what I mean? Like just have it on and just kind of get it subliminally.
I really did kind of like try, but when they talk, it's so annoying when they talk.
Why?
Because it's almost like they're too smart for their own. Like they're just not that smart. They're like, you're not that smart. Like, and
I think they're kind of dumb a lot of times, and that's what I kind of like. They're just very naive
but it's
about
kind
it.
of like a group of them are dumb, and then this other group are smart, putting it all together, like doing all their things. Like you have
The police are dumb.
and the
The
like
police are
right, the
completely dumb.
adults are idiots, and the kids are the smart ones, and I'm just
right.
like
You're the only one with
like
hope.
whatever happened. That's why there's a beauty in Dawson's Creek, because these are kids just trying to figure out like what to love and what the fuck. That and it's wrapped in this like self-analysis that is us. Like there's so much of Dawson as a character that is like your average teenage male at that time. Now kids are just screwballs. Like now they're just off the rails. But here's the thing: the girl that I watched those first 2 episodes with, a couple weeks went by, and I think she tried to watch a couple more, and she lost it way before I did. But we were talking. I was like, and she goes, yeah. She's like that show is not like for kids at all. And I'm like, dude, I told Mark that same exact thing. I asked him if his like girls watch that show, because that show. So here's the other issue like that did build like between those like first 2 episodes, which is it 100% builds this unbelievable standard of what you are, like almost like as a growing adult and what you should be. And not only that, not just looks, but it's and I'm not like knocking beautiful people, because who doesn't love beautiful people?
You love them.
I'm knocking what the attitude is and what the perception is, and almost like what these characters represent. Okay, we're trying out for the cheerleader squad. Oh, let's kiss. No, that has zero value, even within the context of that story. Okay,
They made fun of it right after that. It was stupid. Like immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like, why do they even do
okay.
it? You know?
Veronica coming in as a mean girl, genius effing move. Her somewhat fallen from grace, genius. Like these are very smart decisions. The character later just becomes like a wimpy puss bag that doesn't represent that speech that she gave, that she is ice, that she is cold. Okay,
No, I agree with that. Yep.
like okay, and these are the concessions that, as just an adult male, I say I do not have to spend time with this anymore, because it doesn't even know what it is at all at what like at this point. Maybe what's his name, Ashabib, Ababab, the guy, that dude. Okay,
That's his name.
okay, yeah. Maybe he should have just wrote all the freaking episodes. I don't know.
Yeah, that
It
happens.
seem-
I mean, I think that happens in season 1 where they're trying to figure out the footing and they're trying to, I get
It
that.
just got soft. It got look. That show, Hard and Dark, 1 and 2, okay, definitely not for anyone. Like, and I'm not joking here. Like under the age of 20, it's 20 and up. That show, okay. I don't care. In tone alone, it's rated R. Okay, I don't care. Like it doesn't have blood or boobies or anything. In tone alone, that's a rated R show. Okay, it's beyond me that it can even be on like something like CW. It's beyond like those first 2 episodes are crazy. Okay, but I get it. They gotta do something. You gotta keep the doors open. Shock value, Archie, whatever. Okay, but there's something to the way how those characters are, like, and you're right when you say like it goes away, because you told me that. You were like, oh, it softens up, and I'm in episode 5, and I'm like, it's still there, dude. I'm like, I don't know, like, because he was still banging the teacher by that point.
Right.
Yeah, okay,
right.
but you're right. It softened up and it went away. Okay.
But that's what you don't like. That's what you like. You don't
Yeah.
like that edge being gone.
Yeah, but I'm more or less making a point of, like, I think what this show does to, like, what it would do to a young mind, it almost, like, displays these unrealistic standards on a amazingly fanciful, like, high level. And I really don't, like, I just know if I was, like, I just envision myself, like, I'll pretend I'm a girl. Like, now, and if I'm watching that show, I'm almost like, I gotta, like, kiss my friends. I gotta dress like a slut. I gotta bang a jock. If people don't like me in school, do this stuff. And I'm not saying, like, people's kids aren't smart. I'm not saying your girls aren't. I 100% get that. But how many times you put yourself at that age, how many things did you absorb that infected you, that absorbed you going into adulthood, that you might not still be able to shake today? Because I know there was a ton of crap that my young mind absorbed that I just didn't even know, that there was no filter for, that I'm still trying to figure out. Okay? The psyche gets impressions. It gets subliminal, it gets subconscious impressions. Some of them are conscious. Okay, I remember trying to. One of the reasons why, like, I hit the gym so hard? I remember watching, like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like, doing push-ups, because I, like, trying to make myself have, like, a better body, because I thought Sarah Michelle Gellar was, like, so hot. And I'm not saying that that's not, like, a positive thing, but even her being sexualized, like, to a certain degree on that show, like, affected me. And this shit, Riverdale, is so much more hardcore. I just, it in my mind, I extrapolated. And I'm like, it's even worse today with social media. It's so much more worse because social media amplifies opinions, which are usually the worst opinions on earth to begin with. If you want to know how many bad opinions are in this world, just go on social media. Social media will tell you every single horrible opinion. Okay? And there's little benefit I see of a younger person, like a young adult watching Riverdale. There's little benefit I see them. I see them getting more benefit from something that is rated R, like House of Cards. There's more benefit if they watch House of Cards than Riverdale. Because to me, like, one is pandering, and House of Cards is, like, art. And there's, like, lessons that there's things that those characters do that are almost like real life lessons and real, like, if you're into procurement and procedural, like, operations and like, behind the curtain type stuff, there's, like, real things you can pick up on House of Cards, like, okay, or Mad Men, like, is another good example. Sure. But Riverdale, I'm like, even just as a fan, I'm like, holy shit. But I thought I was taken aback when she said that same thought to me, like, back. And this girl's, like, not involved with geeks. Like, I tell her to watch Doctor Strange on Netflix. She's like, what is that? I'm just like, the big movie that kind of came out six months ago. That was like, you walk by that bus stop that had the poster for about 4 months there. Okay, like, like she's
but
just
some people were in it, and that's
not into.
Well, what I find interesting, I think we talked about this before, is that the CW kind of has their own niche. They have their own thing. With the genre, the things that shouldn't last. The Vampire Diaries lasted forever.
Yeah, that show went on for a long time.
That show, and that's just, like, kind of a fan rabbit. And when I was in Wizard World Philly, it was kind of like that too. The fanfare for this, and I don't know if it's going to grow with the convention circuit, and if it's going to grow with Netflix. The one thing I thought was interesting was they rolled out the next season kind of upfronts, but they didn't really show anything.
Yeah.
For season 2, but they did a lot of recap, and they inserting it. So they led the preview. They have a 5-minute preview, and this is on YouTube of the season of what all the fall season is.
Yeah.
And a ton of it's Riverdale.
You were saying it was like a highlight.
It starts with Riverdale.
Like it's an anchor. It's an anchor show.
And then they're moving the time slot and the day, I think. And then also they dropped in Black Lightning. and that team Black Lightning, which you said you're pro.
Yeah.
Black Lightning. To kind of see, I'm not against it. I don't know. Like, he's barely a compelling character, and then you're going to put a family aspect of it,
okay.
and then not putting it in the Arrowverse. I just don't get
Yeah.
it.
Quick side note. Of the two characters, what would you rather have a live action show? Black Lightning or Blue Devil?
So you're going to keep that weird 70s Tony
it's
Isabella.
they gotta like somewhat be in the same realm.
I guess Blue Devil, because I want Paris Collins to get royalties, and he lives
that's
like
sweet
he
of
lives
you.
he lives like 2 miles from here probably. I think he still lives in Philadelphia.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I don't know.
I side with you.
I'll try it. You know what I mean? And I just don't. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay,
But and then so the reasoning was, so just real quick, they asked the network head, and they were like, why did you do that? Like, this show lost ratings. It lost ratings and went
relatively
down.
lost average 1 million per episode. Like,
Right. So why?
episode 1 was I think 2.3, and it ended with 1.3.
Right. So they said,
Yeah.
like, why would you do that? And it was basically stated that overseas, I believe in Australia, because listening to another podcast in Australia, they run it a week behind on their Netflix called Stan. So they have a Netflix that's called.
Okay.
So they had some deal in Canada. It ran on Netflix.
So it did well in other markets.
It did really well. So they didn't disclose. They didn't they're not like Netflix where they won't disclose any number. But
Yeah.
they said, hey, there's enough demographics that it's fine. We're leaving it. We're giving another
Yeah.
good season. This was 13.
Which
I
is,
don't know.
which
if
is
it's,
fine. Yeah, like, so here's the thing too. Before people got obsessed with numbers and success on that level, movies went in the same trajectory. It wasn't for
Well, Seinfeld didn't do well the first season. And they almost canceled it.
Well,
you know?
here's the thing. Seinfeld hit the stride in season 3 or 4. You can say Friends, Cheers, Always Sunny, same effect. Hill Street Blues, ER. Okay, I didn't watch Buffy until season 3. I didn't watch Sopranos until season. I never. I think I've seen 1 or 2 seasons of either of those shows. There's very few shows that are insane smash hits coming out of the gate. Networks usually play the long ball when they develop a television, because there's a huge investment when you develop a television show. It's way different than a movie. It's way different. Okay, it's just weird. I would say Riverdale earned a second season off of the strength of episodes like maybe 1 through 5. Okay, I would say, like, holy crap, there's definitely, like, it's stuff, to quote Shrek, it's an onion. There's layers there. And there was a lot of layers built in early. And, that's why when I was watching, I was like, oh my God, like, this is nuts. Okay, but yeah, so, I mean, like, I'm more prone to watch Riverdale season 2, episode 1 than finish season 1. I just rather like kind of.
I might do that. Like, I never do that, but I might do that with Preacher, because the problem is, and we talked about this a little bit before, is that the way, because I've read everything, or and the issue is that the Preacher season 1 happened slightly before issue number 1. So everything I was trying to, and some stuff happened after issue number 1. So the whole first season of the first 3 or 4 episodes I watched, I'm just like, does this fit here? I don't know. Yeah. So my whole time I'm just trying to fit it in my brain, like Swiss cheese. Like, I'm like filling in holes.
Yeah.
And I can't do it because it doesn't. And so it alienates me, and I can't objectifiably watch it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's when we talked about Wonder Woman. I said, well, that didn't do that because it just broad stroked in such a nice way.
Yes.
That I was fine with it.
Yeah. Oh, and one of the points with Wonder Woman, when it comes to, like, if they got any deeper outside of what they were broad stroking, I really feel like it would have fell apart. Like, especially with her, anything with her on the island with Chris Pine, like, it would have fell apart, because you have to get into kind of like, like what is that society like just on a movie, because you present movies differently than comics, but you would have to get into the details of this society run by women. Like you would have to kind of explain like certain things, like, and it's just kind of like you can't do that with Wonder Woman without it sounding off. And I'm not like like not proper or not correct. But real quick, getting into Batman versus Superman, Wonder Woman. Okay, Superman can punch the shit out of Doomsday, not break anything, like not do anything. Okay, Wonder Woman's sword cuts through Doomsday, but the sword doesn't cut through Eris. Eris just does whatever. Okay,
It's not the same sword.
it's not the same sword. I get that, but
Where'd you get that sword?
I don't know.
She's not allowed to go back to
I
Paradise
don't
Island.
know. I don't know. But the whole idea was that obviously it cuts Doomsday because it's the God Killer sword. It's like it's enchanted.
She's the god killer.
Right, which is now like that movie destroyed Batman vs Superman even further. Even like
When you think you couldn't get
like it hurt
It couldn't hurt that movie
BVS
more.
so much, and I'm just like, why am I the only one? I think I'm the only one that cares. This is like another Peter thing. I'm the only one that really cares about what it
no
did
one
to
wants
BVS.
to watch BVS anymore.
But it's there.
over.
It's all like
It's on your computer. It's right over there.
yeah.
It's on your
Maybe
box.
watch it when you it's on my box. like I have a box.
It's on your.
Like it's
You have a nice sticker.
Yeah, it's a
There you
BVS
go.
box.
There you go. It's in your loot crate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, dude, like it really, like I just don't like why didn't they just say there's a God Killer sword, BTW, you're also bound Wonder Woman, like you're also a God Killer, like that's the twist. There was 2 God Killers, not 1. Why? The twist should have been 2, and BVS would be fine right now.
BVS will never be fine.
No wonder why Zack Snyder left.
They'll never be fine.
No,
Did you
it's
hear
just
the
like-
rumor this week that there's like severe reshoots now? Like, did you
Yes.
see that?
Yeah. Which is
Uh,
exactly what they said that Whedon would not be doing. They
I
said
don't know
that
what's going on, man.
Whedon, it's the Whedonverse now.
Okay.
He
All right. We'll see
okay,
what happens.
which is crazy because you're what so distraught over, like what's the better Playhouse? You're so upset over Age of Ultron, you now do this, which is the entire floor of DC executives in charge of DCEU. It's a disaster. I don't care with or without the success of Wonder Woman. It's still a disaster. You choose that over continuing to work with.
The more I see,
And-
the more I see into the interviews, the more I see about Patty Jenkins. It seems like that she's completely in charge of this.
Yeah.
She's in charge of that movie.
Yeah.
Like that, she's at
Yeah.
a million interviews. There's been so many different things.
Yeah.
There was a thing last week where they talked about the scene on the boat where they talk about sleeping next to one another. That was almost entirely improvised. So I'm actually kind of curious how much of that was improvised. Supposedly that's one of the best scenes. Where
100%.
where
Yeah.
Chris Pine's like, he's like, I
100%.
can't lay next to you. I'm not allowed to lay next to you. And
But-
he's like,
but-
come on over. And
Yeah,
she,
and-
but it's very natural. Their chemistry is like awesome.
Yeah, and you know what too? It's also I loved it because it's like I hate that it's understated, but it's something with the idea of what marriage represents because it's in the eyes of God. Like that's what that whole scene's about, and it just sucks that it needs to be like understated and not stated.
But
Like
if it was staged, you'd be taken to school. It's your least favorite thing.
well, okay, that's also like a give and take. Okay, never take me to school with with any inaccuracy. Okay, when I know you're pushing a agenda. Okay, this guy comes from. I think I might have wrote this down. I might breeze over it. He comes from a world that is all about that they understand it and they believe it. Yeah, we're talking America in the 1930s. These were institutions in it. He would definitely have that mindset. He would have that belief. He would be 100% vocal about it. Okay? It would be there. And if you're going to make a period, like, again, like, if you're gonna make a period piece, put it in the period. Don't just make people wear funny costumes. Okay, and that's where like sometimes like where like my trigger just goes off. But it was nice, like it's the same with Man of Steel, when they kind of say he's for truth, justice, and the American way, up until like not until the very end of the movie, where he's like, "Why would you think I'm evil? I grew up in Kansas." And that's like, I'm American. That's like as close to him being
America.
Yeah, that's like as close as him being like that they were comfortable going in that movie, which is really weird too, because like he's supposed to represent America.
He also has no regard for any budgetary constraints of America. He just rips apart drones.
Well,
He's an asshole.
well, they're being assholes behind. I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
He's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, he's like, you're dumb drone.
Don't you give me your dumb drone.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know if you realize, but I just punched the guy through a building.
Multiple buildings.
Yeah,
Every building.
Right.
Everyone.
Like, why would they even think? It's almost like the same as like the guy that shoots the gun at Superman and then throws the gun at him.
Right.
Like
That'll do it.
yeah, like the gun's going to
No.
like. That's
Look
I
out.
think that's the Jerry Seinfeld bit.
Yeah,
like
because I think Superman ducks. He ducks.
Yeah.
He moves out of the way.
Moves out of the way.
So he's like, oh no, that's
Yeah.
don't do that now.
Yeah, but it's like the military's got to have a similar thing. So they're like, we know this guy can withstand missiles, but we'll get him with the drone. Like that's going to do it.
Yep. He won't detect it.
You want to go run through some quick? Can we talk about this? Can we talk about Black Panther?
I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, so we'll move right into trailers.
Yeah.
So trailers,
Trailer trash.
trailer park trash.
Yeah.
So
Trash
this
talk.
is the semi-regular segment. There's a good trailer. Well, usually all we talk about is bad trailers. So I'm excited about this good trailer. Black Panther.
You think Black Panther is a good trailer?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But you hate the poster.
I don't like I haven't liked posters. Meaning that there's a absolutely terrible, and I meant to send it to you. There's a Spider-Man Homecoming poster that is so weirdly photoshopped. It looks
Yes, I saw that.
fucking,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unbelievable how horrendous that looks.
Yeah, it's the lines or the cuts for that
Oh my
don't
lord.
blend at all. Yeah, there's been a ton of correction. Boss Logic, he did one that he like
He fixed it?
Dude, he did all kinds of work, but people also like added things. They added like Darth Vader and like Roger
Oh, I can't wait
Rabbit
to- I gotta
and
look at that.
like Will Ferrell's in there and
That
like
poster is just it's
Yeah.
it's unreal. I don't know. It's weird to me. Like I just feel like they need to go back to like Druzan or just get like a Hildebrandt. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
throw it up. Like
yeah.
or I mean you know what? But like the IMAX.
Who's leading in that style now?
I don't know. Like the ones I like the most are. There's an artist from Mondo. Like I see like the way after
Oh,
movie.
you're talking. I know who you're talking about.
I don't know his name. Yeah, but it's like really good thick line, and it's
Dude.
and the likeness is great.
I'm forgetting his name, but yeah, I know exactly who. Yeah, he does like those like super montages, but they're monochromatic.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
But the IMAX Guardians 2 Volume 2
Oh yeah.
is gorgeous. Like
Yeah.
that's gorgeous.
I like them
most of
both.
the
Yeah.
Guardians posters are great.
Yeah.
They're good photos. They're bright.
Yeah.
Ragnarok's probably going to be similar.
Yeah, I think the Thor poster for that is just like has like almost like a rainbow shaded background.
It's just
It's like
heavy.
yellows
Yeah,
and reds.
I just feel like they need to
and
commit
there's,
to
like,
it. There's
some blue
something.
into it.
The I don't know. To me, it's almost gosh, like just Black Panther sitting on a throne without the mask. It looks like, you know what? Put your mask on. Like to me, it's like
Yeah.
it looks
Well,
weird. It
well,
looks like his head's
well,
glued on.
I'll
to
bring it up. Boss
body.
Logic, fix that. Dude, this guy's phenomenal. He has like one of my favorite like Instagram accounts. I'll show you.
He fixed the
Dude, he fixed it. Yeah, yeah.
because the poster popped and then the trailer wasn't supposed to hit, and they were like, it's coming on NBA Finals. So I felt like, and they also did a lot of marketing.
There you go.
And I'm on a.
And he added the Panther too.
How good is that?
Right?
How good is that? So what
Isn't
is that?
that
That's,
awesome?
that's Boss Logic. Is
Boss
that the-
Logic. Yeah, I'll keep talking. I'll try and find his Spider-Man work.
Right. So so I didn't like the Chadwick Boseman. It looked like his head's glued on to a poster, literally.
Look how cool that is.
That's better. It's still a little.
Yeah, but
it's much better.
See
though.
how he added the glow, like the
He
glow,
added, like the lens flare sort of.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
and that hides the weak cuts, like
Mhm.
the weak cutouts that they had for that, the obvious cutouts. So he was like a little
There's
creative.
a lot of good colors in that
Yeah,
too.
he also did this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I just think I
it's-
don't like the composition of everything.
Yeah.
I think I just don't like the composition of everything. So there's a montage Spider-Man Homecoming poster with Tony Stark in the top right corner, like a large head, and then Spidey against the back, and everyone else in it. See, that's better too. This guy's a shit.
Isn't he
Oh
awesome?
my gosh,
Dude, and he's so freaking quick. Like he has a speed that I cannot fathom how he's so quick.
So you just showed me so Inhumans had a trailer leaked today, but I can't find it. It was already leaked and now it's already pulled.
Yeah, let me see if I can maybe get lucky.
But he
with
just
that.
showed me. So Pete just showed me the Inhumans poster, which is just looks bad, and then it has Black Bolt without his mask on, and the bad wig that Medusa's wearing, and then his thing. He just fixed all of it. Like the hair looks better. It's trailing a little, and then he puts the mask on Black Bolt.
Trailer or
which is
teaser
right.
trailer?
Whatever was posted today. Whatever was posted
Has there been a
today.
teaser trailer?
The teaser trailer is a logo and people talking, and it's shitty. It's not even a trailer. Not a trailer.
All right, let me see.
So you kind of go in. So they're right before a movie's going to hit, everything just goes nuts. So I'm now quitting final trailer. You know, like I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit the final. So if there's a teaser and a regular trailer, okay. If there's a story trailer, maybe I'll watch it. But I think right now I'm going to try and just go teaser, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So as for Homecoming, I'm done.
So for the NBA Finals, they did a nice crossover with Homecoming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where Peter Parker was invited to Tony Stark's,
Like Skybox or something.
yeah,
right? Mhm.
well, or Stark Tower or Avengers Tower to watch the NBA Finals, and he gets there and Tony Stark is like on TV, like he's not. But that sequence was like so freaking fun. Like they did such a good job. It was maybe like 3 clips that they put, and I don't even know if this is in the movie,
Mhm.
but it's got like Jon Favreau and stuff. It kind of really sold the movie to me, because it really is like this like Robert Downey Jr. like Spider-Man type like relationship, and like I'm like, you know what, I'm like, it's like more Robert Downey Jr. Like it just seems like fun and like
yeah, I think I'm
like,
not watching anymore.
Yeah.
From what I feel like the vibe is right.
It got me, yeah. That and maybe that's the word I was like looking for.
I did accidentally see, because again I'm not trying to see anything. I did see some Aunt May pictures this week where they give her these weird like glasses because they have to unhot Marissa Tomei.
Oh, okay.
Because everyone's commenting after look at hot Aunt May. Like everyone was
Yeah.
kind of like crazy, so I think
Yeah.
like they were trying to ugly her up a little
That's
bit.
funny.
You know, so, and I would say, like, because even with, like, I think there's an overload, and I'm afraid Homecoming's going to fall into it. So before The Mummy came out, I know you talked about The Mummy last episode, there was a Dark Universe announcement. I don't care about it. I don't care that Javier Bardem is Frankenstein. I don't care that Depp is. I think it's just, it's a weird Avengers of old guys. Like, I don't think that they're relevant anymore. It's just a crazy attempt, and I think it's stupid.
Well,
and I don't want it.
It's an interesting experiment. Now, the thing is, though...
How did The Mummy do over the weekend? How did that go?
It did 30. Did like 33. Wonder Woman, I think, did 50.
So Wonder Woman beat it?
Wonder Woman beat it by double. Okay?
Holy crap. Okay.
Worldwide, Mummy is already at 175 with a budget of 125. So worldwide, it seems to...
It'll float fine,
yeah,
I
it's
guess.
doing fine. But the thing is, though... So, here's... Like, I went into the guys behind The Mummy, which were it's all Tom Cruise's guys, like Kurtzman too, the director.
It's Kurtzman, Macari, David Koepp.
Yeah, and and like, right, like between McCurry and Koepp, who
Macari wrote Usual Suspects. Koepp wrote the first Spider-Man movie. This is a great script, actually.
Yeah, he wrote Jurassic Park. He was like a Spielberg disciple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Kurtzman and Orci were in the DreamWorks writing internship studio.
Yeah.
and
Right.
they wrote The Island for DreamWorks, and
Yeah,
they wrote a ton of stuff.
Yeah. So it's interesting that so many story guys are involved with just one movie. Like guys that have a long history of cranking out work in Hollywood. Um, like part of like where I'm coming from with this movie is that, all right, so what would you rather have Universal do? Like like what if they wanted a piece of this pie? Like like they wanted, like they essentially created a shared universe out of like public domain IPs. Right?
I just think that they're going about it by. I think they're going so star heavy that the stars are not. When I look at Captain America on screen, I don't see Chris Evans. Like I feel like it's Captain America. Like I
Yeah.
feel that Tom Cruise is no one in this movie besides Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise
it's-
hasn't been not Tom Cruise in I don't know how many
I think
years.
he's the only one that kind of like sticks out for whatever reason.
Because he's not a character.
And I'm a Tom Cruise guy, and I even say like he kind of, because even going into this, you and I were like, what is like?
Is he the mummy? Who's the mummy?
We couldn't figure it
Did
out.
he die? When he screams,
I'm pretty sure
like when
he,
the
I
plane's upside down.
I want to see. I'm pretty sure he dies and she resurrects.
Does he have power? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't take it, and I don't want to see it. I'm kind of done. I'm done.
see
I'm
it.
done with Tom
wanna
Cruise
see
running.
it.
I'm just out. You can watch
I
it,
wanna
and you'll
see
tell
it.
me it's okay, and I'll go okay. I'm not watching it. But I feel like as for the trailer overload, I felt like they tried to sell me on this movie a million fucking times. Like every week there was a different trailer. Every week there was a video about, and I did hear that the stunt where they go 0G is like 10 seconds long, and you already saw it.
Yeah.
That you already saw it in the trailer, and they're like, why do the stunt? But they have a half-hour documentary about the stunt.
Yeah.
And then they had a half-hour documentary about the universe. They had a half-hour documentary about Tom Cruise's weird other
Yeah.
stunt. They have a half-hour documentary completely revealing the character of Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Before
Well-
the movie came out.
Well, yeah.
Why would you do that? Now, I also know that if, and this will kind of dovetail right into my next thing, is that if IMDb is out there, and unless you completely are zippered up,
Yeah.
if you cast, before you have Russell Crowe and he's playing a Dr. Jekyll, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
Of course.
No.
But don't let me see it, and don't let me see it even in the thumbnail for a trailer.
Yeah.
And I saw his eyes were red. Like, I'm like, God damn it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want it.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
I think they were the marketing and the rollout for that was disjointed. Like again, they're trying to educate people on something that doesn't exist. Like okay, and people are always like, why do they always have to do adaptations? Because adaptations actually fill in a lot of the blanks.
Mm.
Okay, we're seeing like a shared universe from the ground up, and there's no blueprint for that. There's no way to really do it, and they're trying to do it. And I think there was a lot of training wheels on the marketing rollout for this, and what type of content, and what the release schedule is for that content, and where it gets placed, and why and where. There's a lot to be learned. Okay. But this is why, when you do a shared universe, it's best to do it on established, like almost like lines of credit. Like you do it on established lines of IP, meaning that hey, we can do a extended universe on MASH, or how about we do one on Hasbro? Like we'll do Transformers, G.I. Joe, ROM, and Mask.
Right. That's what they're doing in the comics. That's
Right.
exactly what they're doing in the
Yeah,
comics. Right,
like
right.
yeah, and like, but those like there's already paths and lines established to what the connections are. There's none of that for Dark Universe.
There's no nostalgia for it. There's no like. So I understand when you talk
Yeah.
about that. There's a pre-audience when Power Rangers came out.
Yeah.
You didn't have to super advertise. They still advertise, but you didn't have to be like,
Yeah.
do you know what Power Rangers is?
Yeah.
No. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we all know what Power Rangers is.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or hate it, doesn't
Do you
matter.
know what Power
We all
Rangers-
know it.
Do you know?
And that's why, like, they were like, why there's no new ideas? Because they already have pre-advertising without paying a dime
Yeah.
on the IP.
Yeah, I would say it's beyond the advertising. I really feel like it's the education.
Mhm.
Like, all right, you don't have to educate people much on Power Rangers. Think of the level of education required for Pacific Rim,
Mhm.
which is still happening. Like, there's still like a lot to Tron Legacy went through that.
Mhm.
Okay, where you're like, what is this? It's a sequel. The other movie came out 30 years ago.
I think the
And-
window, like there has to be a window. Like I mean, I think the
Yeah.
only, or it depends on it's the window or the talent. So I almost feel that the exception will be like the Blade Runner 2049, which I'm going to see completely because of Denis Villeneuve, not necessarily because of anything else.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm interested in the music for that because I love Vangelis'
Oh, okay.
score in the original. I'm hoping it keeps like
I
some
don't
of
know.
that.
I don't know who he uses. I know Arrival's. I know Arrival's score was unusual.
Yeah,
so
real quick, what is your take on Arrival?
I like Arrival.
Yeah,
a
I
lot.
like it a lot. Yeah,
I think Arrival's great.
yeah,
I think Arrival is like, but see, there's so many different marketing campaigns that are really, it's really difficult. That was very difficult to market. I think a lot of people just were disappointed in it because they have in the trailer, one of the trailers,
yeah.
and we're still in our trailer area anyway.
Trailer trash talk.
Trailer trash talk is that there's a part where no one was communicating with one another, and they were
Yeah.
like, "What are we gonna do? We're going to attack them."
Yeah,
Because that's every end of the movie. And she's like, don't attack them.
Yeah.
Wait. Now, spoilers, that does not happen in the movie. Like, it doesn't, that part happens, but they
Yeah.
don't attack them.
yeah. There's like an escalation that
There's an escalation that you
Yeah.
just would figure would be a payoff
it's like
in
the
the film.
third time we've said escalation.
Yeah.
So, no
Well,
more.
that's
No more.
true.
Yeah,
Um,
that one was appropriate.
So I'm just
Yeah.
trying to, so like, I mean, and I know that today, Spider-Man Homecoming put out a 30-minute Disney XD show that they showed over the weekend.
Oh,
Which
wow.
is like, it's like 22 minutes. It's only Nicole. And
Oh,
I'm like,
jeez.
God damn it. Like, I don't want to watch it because I just feel like there's only so much you can show. There's going to be behind-the-scenes stuff you're going to see by accident. There's going to be scenes that they're going to pop
Right.
in. That's way too much time.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not out for, like, a month. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? So I just feel like I don't want to, I don't want to see the movie. So I'm done with, so the Valerian trailer hit last week. I think that's going to be amazing. I'm seeing that, but I think that's not going to hold an audience. I don't feel like everyone's going to, if that's going to work for everyone either.
That's it. That's
That's the X factor.
That's-
That goes into what you just said.
yeah.
Is anyone going to know what the heck that is?
Yeah, and you know what, too? I'll tell you right now, that's another one where people are like, what is that? That's coming out. I never heard. Like, there's already that. I'm already hearing a lot of that.
Right.
Again, the world that you and I come from, that's a movie that's high on our list. Through nature alone. Through the nature of this movie, we know it is worthy of of the ticket sale. Like, period. You know? Yeah, it's tough. But real quick, my only issue with the Black Panther trailer was that, like, a lot of it didn't seem like, a couple parts just seemed fake, and I don't know if it's like too like early shots or whatever. But when he's like looking up the rocks, he's like, and everyone's like on their, like, all the different tribes are on those rocks. That just seemed like,
It's Zion.
yeah, it just that seemed fake. And then there was like a couple shots of like the armored girls with like guns, and the guns looked like
They
that
weren't
whole
there,
thing
yeah.
looked-
When on the, I know what you're talking about, on like the
Yeah.
flat top.
yeah,
And with Killmonger standing
right.
there.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, like what? But I just think it's cool. Like, it's just cool. Like to me, Black Panther always was one of the cool parts of the Marvel universe, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm praying to God that they never do Namor. I do not.
I don't think they could. Well, you know what?
think
Okay, the
that's
only thing
such
that
a stupid.
I think that everything can work, and the reason why I think everything can work is I think the people that are in charge in the art department in Marvel Studios know how to do either way, whether they do something retrofuturism. So like
Yeah,
Asgard has like I don't know. It's like a mid-eastern, like a
yeah, it's
they do like a medieval futurism.
Yeah.
And so it's Asgard is like then they have laser or they have these ships that are
well,
just on
that's,
sails.
That's Andy Pack,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
a Rob
Andy Park.
Liefeld Park. Yeah,
Um,
a Rob Liefeld disciple. So thank Rob Liefeld for
I'm fine.
Marvel. Yeah.
But
you have to.
I'm not going to thank him. I'm not going to thank him. I'll thank the janitor that wrote his books.
Oh, jeez.
So the but in this one they have like Afrofuturism. That's a real thing. So
Yeah.
the what they do is so they have African culture items, but then they're all wearing these armor.
Yeah.
The Dora Laje is there, which is all the female guards.
Yeah.
And she's in it, but no one really like notices. Like his sister's in it. So she can become Black Panther.
Right.
So that's
Well,
already
she,
there.
She does, yeah.
She
yeah.
does in different
Volume 4, Volume 5.
Yeah, so there's a couple different
Yeah.
things. When I saw the Civil War, I remember T'Chaka from the cable run you talked about. So
Yes.
there was Black Panthers in 3 or 4
Yeah.
issues of that. So it's the Joe Casey, Jose Ladron cable series where he goes to Wakanda, and
Yeah.
then Ladron drew very Kirby-esque. So this
I
is
think
very
that's
Kirby.
where he gets the spear of. He has like his psychic spear in that run, and crap.
Was it?
I think he gets it from there. I'm just.
I love that run.
It's such.
Yeah.
have that. I'll keep the
right
stack
there.
next to my drawing table,
right there.
dude. Like that run's for real, dude. I don't,
Yeah.
Like fuck Pete. Fuck man. Like that's a real run of comics there. That's
yeah,
a real
it was
run.
48 to 70, 71, 72.
So upset, yeah.
And then they decided to bring Liefeld for 2 issues.
So, like, Liefeld explained that, though. He did talk about it in this one podcast. And and he said, and he, like, so whenever, no one has ever interviewed Rob Liefeld, okay? They say something to him, and he'll go on for, like, an hour. And the things he says in that hour are so freaking, it's just awesome. Because it's just one thing after the next. Okay, and people just sit there, and I'm like, what the hell am I listening? Like, do your job, interview them. Don't just. But in one of these like rants that he went on, he said that people hated that he got on that book at that time, but he said no one realized that they were close to canceling the book, and they
That's what I heard. I don't.
and they brought him on to like boost the sales, and he goes.
And
Yeah.
technically it worked.
And well, he like numbers are numbers, so whatever. Like his numbers, let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. Numbers are true, but he said like same thing happened with Wolverine too, where like he got those 5 or 6 issues of Wolverine, and the sales popped, and the sales popped for Teen Titans when he came on for like 2 or 4 issues like of that. So I mean, like, all right, like. You know, like there maybe is like some effect to that, but at the same time, like I don't know, like I guess adult Peter is kind of like, well, maybe should have just canceled it then. Like you should have just canceled
Back then
cable.
it wasn't really an option. Like right now, Marvel has these little mini runs that they end quickly.
Yeah,
so they end in
it's
15.
it's
and it's a creator saying, okay, I'm doing 15 issues of Moon Knight. Okay.
Yeah, it's a
And you're like,
totally
okay.
different. Yeah, it's a totally different world now because back then the attitude was, and I'm kind of happy. Like I really never made this connection before. This is actually really good. Was you kept that title going as a publisher, no matter what. There was never like pre-planned cancellation in any book, like ever. Like you when you started the series. You did everything you could to increase sales and to keep it going. And now it's like this weird scenario where, yeah, like, hey, what do you feel like doing? Like, hey, you, hey, little writer guy, what do you feel like doing? Well,
I wonder if it's the Gaiman effect. I wonder if Neil Gaiman. I mean, you figure Sandman was the first book that was a mainstream book that he was allowed to take characters from the DCU, do his own thing, and then end it when he wanted to end it.
well,
and then Preacher
and Starman
after that,
too. Yeah,
and then Starman. I think and I would say that like I love the Starman run. I would almost want 10 issues less of that. As weird as that sounds, I'd like it to be ended like.
Maybe precursor to even Sandman, Morrison's Animal Man. Perhaps.
He always planned to
ended
leave.
that. Yeah.
But then it kept going, and then like the next run, you're like, Muh. But then there was something else completely after that. So the next run after that, I'm trying to think who did the run right after it. They're basically screwed.
Maybe I just remember that series ending with
It didn't end with
The
that.
drawing.
It
I
went-
thought it ended on the drawing table. I thought they took
that's the way that his run ended.
Right.
He met himself.
and they kept going.
He met
after
Grant
that.
Morrison.
Oh, okay.
But no,
I'm
right
confused then.
after that, someone else.
Well, I'm a little
took
upset
over.
now. I thought that was like the end of.
No, but like
the end of that
and then he
series.
did the same thing with Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol ends, and then someone else took it over, and then it was a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And that's fine, and that ended up working anyway. So that's what was kind of cool about those Vertigo series, that Swamp Thing ended a bunch of times. So Swamp Thing has
Yeah.
the Len Wein thing, even before Moore, that was wrapped up tight.
Yeah.
And then Alan Moore came on, and Alan Moore helped script the end of he did number 20. Number 21 is the anatomy lesson, but number
Yes.
20, Alan Moore helped script with, I believe it was Len Wein, and he helped wrap up all the shit he didn't want to bring over.
Wow. Okay.
And then he's like,
Interesting.
now here we go. So everyone's like, oh, 21. I'm like, 20 was his first issue technically.
Wow. Yeah.
But it doesn't make any sense because he's just like wrapping up a bunch of shit. And then like you read 21, that's really the true beginning.
Yeah.
But you can cancel that series on the end of that one if you want. But and you could cancel the end of. But then you've also had multiple Swamp Thing runs that were great. You had the Millar Hester run, which is great. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You had even a Brian K. Vaughan one where it was all his daughter. That's really
Well,
underrated.
at one time, so Swamp Thing was a rite of passage, especially if you
Mhm.
were from 2000 AD.
Right.
If you came from 2000 AD, you had to work on Vertigo. You had to work on Swamp Thing, and it was kind of like a showcase
Mm-hmm.
comic. Character at one time, because it lent himself. The character lends itself to writing well,
Mm-hmm.
because you can be physical, you can be metaphysical, you can be
be
inside,
meandering, you can be
outside,
whatever,
yeah,
right.
But I
And
don't
you can
know.
write a whole scenario. Most of those books were just horror books.
Yeah,
Shade the Changing Man was just like a horror book.
I love Shade,
And
yeah.
it was like it just happened to have this.
But that was
weird,
so that was an interesting block, because you kind of had Shade, Animal Man, and Ragman, right? Or was it Ragman? Or
Yeah. No, he had Swamp Thing. Ragman did have a miniseries, which was also very good.
I thought he had he didn't have a monthly.
Just a
And
miniseries.
then there
Pat
was
Broderick drew it.
and then there was a miniseries called Clash, and that was a revamp, similar to the John Byrne OMAC. So they had these prestige format
Mm-hmm.
revamps that were just almost even OMAC was
OMAC was a
super
Zippo
obscure.
tone,
Yeah,
like sepia tone.
yeah, black and white Zippo. But that was an interesting time for DC. So that they did have a lot of good stuff then.
Mhm,
They had
yeah.
the Shadow, the DC Comics second Shadow series.
We had the Howard Chaykin, and then when it went to ongoing, it was Andrew Helfer and Kyle Baker.
Yeah, there was so much. They were so much better than Marvel at that point.
Yeah, so
What I feel.
so I feel that now that the runs that they do, the way that Marvel is kind of patterned in some ways is they talk to the creators. Warren Ellis has a great Moon Knight run. It went right into Brian Wood's Moon Knight run, goes right into Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight run.
Yeah.
So there's three recent Moon Knight runs which are revamped. They're all good and they're all completely different.
Yeah.
So I think that's
yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And now it's over. And now it's like no one's gonna touch it. Now I think we won't see Moon Knight again for a couple of years. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else can
Well,
touch
he
it.
always
That's the way. That's the way he goes.
path
That's
of
what's
the
kind of cool.
character, yeah.
And that's why I think it actually could kind of work on Netflix because they did the wrong Iron Fist. That's kind of the hard part with Iron Fist is they did the wrong one.
Yeah.
They did bits of the boringest interpretation of Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Whereas I've read a lot of the other interpretations of Iron Fist. Everyone's better than the one we watched.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Defenders is coming.
I'm excited. Oh, what other trailers?
Okay, so
you got?
trailer. So Valerian, I'm on. So the thing that I think the cut through, the cool that doesn't need, it's weird. It's kind of a weird cred, but Baby Driver's coming out. That's Edgar
Yeah.
Wright, who
already.
did, Scott Pilgrim did not do Ant-Man. Did
Yeah.
some of Ant-Man pre-work and then left because he couldn't handle the Marvel's interference,
Yeah.
and that's fine. He's an auteur, whatever. It's fine. But the most recent trailer that was edited specifically to Tequila is just nuts, and
Yeah.
it's like a perfect trailer. It's an A+.
Yeah,
Complete
I
A+.
agree. Yeah. And
But that just oozes cool, And I don't know, but I feel like, just as you say, like, we're like, hey, Valerian, look at that amazing thing, and then space and this and then all this stuff and sci-fi. There's way too many concepts. Whereas I think Baby Driver is going to pull that cool and be like, there's a guy and he has like tinnitus and he
Yeah.
has to listen to music and drive a car and look at the stunts, and they're real stunts. So
Yeah.
I think there's a certain street level of that where like you don't need to know
Yeah,
anything.
well, it's kind of like Baby Driver is like okay. So we've seen this movie before. It was called Snatch. Like we've seen this movie before. It was like kind of like Lucky Number 11.
Mhm.
Okay, these are all like hyper versions of Pulp Fiction,
Mhm.
where they're insightful, intelligent criminals that shouldn't be criminals because they're so freaking smart. Okay, not saying criminals are dumb. Some criminals are insanely intelligent, but it's like this like weird criminal type movie doing things and everyone has like a little bit of a hook to it, and they have a ton of great talented people around the role. And that's where, like, when you and I were going back and forth about that trailer, that's why I was saying, like, this movie's, like, already, like, it's already a hit. It already has that momentum. It's going to be a smash. It's going to be huge, okay?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. To me, like this, and then I think a couple of days later, the new Soderbergh movie hit. The new Soderbergh movie, and you think that's going to be really big. I think that's not going to hit.
I don't know, man. That movie just looks
So
like...
that's Logan Lucky, and that's Channing Tatum. This is his third movie, second or third. Well, he did
Magic Mike 1 and 2.
Two is not Soderbergh technically directed. He didn't direct that.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
I forgot.
It might as
yeah,
well be.
I never even saw it, so...
But this is Soderbergh, who's been retired
he
like
also
17
did
times.
Haywire.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
He was in... Haywire's a kick.
Haywire's.
I love Haywire.
Yeah, I think Haywire's really good. That's very underrated.
I just like it that she kills all, like, really cool actor guys.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like...
So Logan Lucky is Soderbergh, who did Ocean's 11, 12, 13,
Yeah.
Haywire, Traffic. Yeah. So, so this is his kind of return to the sly heist, but he uses what, Daniel Craig. So it's, who's the other guy? I know that's Channing Tatum, and then his brother is Kylo Ren. It's Adam Driver.
Yes, yeah.
Right, so you have Magic Mike and Kylo Ren get together to bail out, to take out James Bond out of jail.
Yeah,
So
they
Daniel
get
Craig, James Bond,
Yeah.
to be a safe cracker.
Yeah.
And there's a couple, I forget. There's there's a bunch of other staples in it.
And like straight Southern accents.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
With like bleach blonde hair, like a crew cut.
He needs a role like that. He needs a role to separate himself.
Absolutely,
from,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because even the other movies, even Girl with a Dragon Tattoo and Cowboys vs. Aliens, he was too close to James Bond. In
He's
both
just
of those
walking
movies.
around.
Yeah.
To me, I felt in those movies he's just walking around. Like, I just can't take it.
Just walking around.
So that's one. The other one that kind of popped
Would you
too.
say that to his face if he was here?
Yeah.
Like,
and then he just punched me in the face.
Yeah,
I fucking
you just
fell over. It's
walk
fine.
around.
You know what,
your-
man? You just walk around.
you
You
just-
know what you should do?
I'm sick of you walking around in your movies.
Yeah. I mean, besides the Bond movie, I think he does not walk around. I think in the Bond movies he does stuff, but I feel like the other movies he walks around. Seriously,
walks
Cowboys vs. Aliens is like just a mess. Just a mess.
That movie fell apart, but the reason why they were like getting the gold, like the hook for the aliens, that's where it fell apart.
I don't know. To me, that's such a weird studio. I'll
Yeah.
move into like so. So what is your
yeah.
take? So we kind of talked about like public consciousness.
Yes.
So public consciousness, and do we give a shit? So Universal Monsters. I don't know if anyone cares. Everyone that would have liked those or seen those movies, they're dead.
No one seems excited.
Right, no one cares.
Okay.
So Murder in the Orient Express is an Agatha Christie novel from 100 years ago or so.
It's a
it's 1 to 2 movies.
it's a King
couple
Arthur,
movies.
Yeah, it's a King Arthur Robin Hood.
This is another King Arthur Robin Hood movie.
Where this is a incredible story.
Don't we know who killed the person?
Well,
Don't we know who kills?
They have to.
So what are they going to do there? Do you think that they're going to murder? So the book's old. Everyone should know. Spoilers. You can Google it or whatever.
It's got to have its own twist. It's got to have. But here's the thing. It's just like, and I'm like not researching this or whatever, But in like a few years, maybe next year, we'll have a bunch of giant Hollywood actors getting together to do some interpretation of Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, or Macbeth.
I guess we're due for that. That happens.
Okay.
You know, we had a good Mel Gibson, Macbeth. We had a Romeo and Juliet with
Hawke.
DiCaprio. We had
Yeah.
O with Ethan Hawke. I'm fine with that. That's
Yeah.
fine.
No, O was with Lawrence Fishburne, I think.
Isn't Ethan Hawke in that?
Ethan Hawke was in another version of Hamlet. There was modern day
that's right.
Hamlet, then there was Mel Gibson dated Hamlet,
Mhm.
then there was Kenneth Branagh Victorian Hamlet, which is 4 hours plus. That's like the actual play.
Yeah, I like
the
that.
Kenneth Branagh.
I like that
yeah.
one.
Which,
Kenneth Branagh's directing Murder in the Orient Express.
yeah.
The new and improved post-Thor Dutch angle Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
But don't you think this movie, so when I've watched the trailer, and they do a really weird, almost 360 camera thing,
yeah,
which is so gimmicky, but don't you think this is Kong Skull Island on a train?
yeah, it's just
Like they're just getting like the go-to actors, so they get like the Dame Judi
Yeah.
Dench, they get
yeah, it's like you know what it is? It's not even like a studio film as much as it's like an agency film, where an agency has that collection. Like they're like, hey, like we have a way to make this movie. Hey, what in this like and I'm not saying that's like wrong in like the method, but they're
Yeah.
like, hey, we have relationships with this many like with these people, and then they're like, okay, well let's talk to these, and they pick like who the agency feeds them, and that's how you get like that's how a lot of these actors end up together like in movies, and that's why some of them repeat like in the same movies together. Like you think Channing Tatum and Steven Soderbergh don't have like agency relations? Like they probably have the same agency. That's how Hollywood works. It's a town of introductions. It's a town of being comfortable with people because you don't want to lose your career because some actor is an insane nutbag. Like you want to hire people that you're secure in making movies with. Like it's not an easy business on that notion. But yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised in another few years if we get like a Wuthering Heights. If we get a
Right.
you know what's due for an update? And speaking of Ethan Hawke, Great Expectations.
oh,
Like,
It's a
come
mess.
on, like we gotta bring that
no, I
one back.
know.
Like,
Yeah, they'll
but,
start to do those, and
Yeah.
then they'll be in.
but
I
him
don't
and
know.
Gwyneth Paltrow were in that
Yeah.
update.
I remember that color being good. I wonder it was like her being really bright.
that
Cinematographer.
Yeah, it had like that golden glow, and it was like
Heavy greens. Yeah,
heavy
exactly.
greens,
So I
yeah,
see that.
yeah.
We know it. Good job, cinematographer. When the fuck was that movie? 15, 20 years ago?
That was maybe 98, maybe
Oof.
99.
All right,
Yeah.
so Murder in the Orient Express is the new Kong Skull Island. It's Kong Skull Island on a train. The reason I say it is because
Yeah.
Kong Skull Island was just like a cut and paste. It was like, we're going to get Loki. We're going to get
Yeah.
Steve Brule. We're going to get, like, it's like, I just think that they just plopped it all together. Like, we're going to get Nick Fury.
Yeah, well,
We're going to get that other guy.
yeah.
Like, I was like,
I just envisioned like Bill Murray's like freak out in like in Ghostbusters when he's like dogs and cats living together.
Yeah.
like that's how like they
So Murder in the
pitch
Orient
these
Express
movies.
is like, okay, they have Jack Sparrow. They have Rey from Star Wars.
Jack Sparrow.
Ray Skywalker from Star Wars, which I know she's not. Maybe she's Skywalker. Who knows?
Yeah,
they
we
have
still don't
Michelle
know.
Pfeiffer, Catwoman. You have Olaf or what's his name? In Beauty and the Beast. Who the fuck was he in Beauty and Josh Gad?
Olaf.
He's Olaf. So Olaf. You have Judi Dench, the
Potentially
Dame.
the Penguin too, right? They're saying he could be
Oh
the
God,
Penguin.
no!
Yeah.
Please no. Willem Dafoe. So I always go Green Goblin or Jesus.
Yeah,
Jesus,
I like
Green Goblin.
Jesus. Jesus is the better.
You know,
one for
or
that.
he's Sergeant Elias, and so I did. It's
They,
just
they get them. They got them all.
ugh.
But
And then Penelope Cruz. I don't know where you put her in. Banditas. What the fuck was she in? Vanilla Sky.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh God.
Uh,
She's in Blow.
she was in Blow and
Zoolander 2.
Sahara.
That's what I was thinking. What did I say?
Yeah.
Banditas. Well, she was in
yeah.
some movie with Sahara.
I never got her appeal, to be honest. Like, how does she end up in movies? She never, like...
She's great
you can hardly
the
understand
Almodovar movies, like All About My Mother and Volver. Volver's
but that's
unreal.
good, but she's not speaking English either in those movies.
No, she shouldn't speak English. She speaks English.
That's
speaks
what I mean.
English
Like, whenever
terribly.
she speaks English, it's
And
like...
if you want to see that, so I had a weird segment. I'll put this on the list of this segment that I wanted to make up, which is, and I usually do this. So I like things that I can't recommend. I'm like, I can't recommend this highly enough for you not to watch it because I don't think people would like it. But I like
Okay.
Volver. So like Vanilla. I said Vanilla. I'm thinking Vanilla Sky because I'm thinking Penelope Cruz. Penelope Cruz is in a movie that Almodovar did with. Almodovar did a movie with Penelope Cruz named Volver. It was from, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years ago. And she just imagines her mother, and the mother was a ghost maybe, and then she ends up meeting her mother in the kitchen. Might have been dead,
Oh.
might have been, and it's weird and creepy. I don't know what's going on in it, and I love it. The same thing, so today I texted a few friends of mine because Twin Peaks is on episode 5 now.
Yeah, you're...
5 or 6. I'm way into it. I cannot recommend it. And someone I work with watched it. He couldn't make heads nor fucking tails of it. Never watched the old show.
Yeah.
Couldn't watch the new show. It's completely impenetrable.
Right.
Completely.
Yeah, so
It's unreal that they gave these people money. Now the cast is unbelievable. Like everyone's in it.
Yeah.
You know, like Michael Cera was in it for I don't even know why. The last episode.
I love that though.
And like there's a lot of weird stuff going on, and every episode's written by Mark Frost. Everything is directed by everything's directed. But I cannot recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
You know.
So like, do you think some of the intention for the Twin Peaks revamp is David Lynch trying to make it right?
Well, he completely admits that it wasn't his fault. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it was
he
just
blames
it
it
was
on
studio
the,
interference. They wanted to know. He never wanted it to be out.
Yeah, it was.
He never wanted it to be
like,
said.
I think it's. There's a side of me that wants to believe it is some of that, and if it is true, it's for the wrong reasons. But on Movie Web today, one of their headlines was Joel Schumacher apologizes for Batman and Robin 20 years later. Not that he's apologized 100 times since then, but like I guess he was somewhere and he talked about it, and you maybe went into more detail, but like it kind of like pisses me off when I see stuff like that because it's not his job.
We talk about that. We don't like it when anyone apologizes for shit. We didn't like it when The Rock was like, the critics made Baywatch not successful. Don't worry. Don't comment on it. Don't. I never liked it when Clooney was chat on.
Well,
I never liked that.
yeah,
I thought that was always bullshit.
It is.
It was the right decision at the time. You were in it. You signed the paperwork. You
Yeah,
collected
like
the check.
how do you not?
You didn't
like,
donate the
sign
money away, right?
into that movie, right?
And Affleck did it with Daredevil.
Yeah. Well,
Daredevil's fine.
Yeah,
like I mean, Daredevil's fine for what it is.
It is.
It's fine.
No, I do. That movie,
I still like Daredevil.
That movie had real excitement when that came out too. When Daredevil,
Yeah, it made a ton of money. Great opening
excitement.
weekend.
Yeah. There was this interview with Michael Caine, and what was he in? Jaws 2 or Jaws 3?
Jaws the Revenge.
It's the
3 or
one,
4.
like, and he bangs Roy Schneider's wife in that.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is all like the whole like scenario there is more interesting than the shark stuff because you're like he's banging Roy Schneider's wife,
Right, Brody's wife.
whose family was now terrorized
The
like
last
repeatedly by sharks.
Starfighter. The last Starfighter was
Yeah.
his son.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And this interviewer was like getting smug with him, and he's saying, "How could you make Jaws of Revenge? Didn't you know how awful of a movie that was while you were making it?" And Michael Caine said, "Jaws of Revenge bought me like my first Malibu house." Okay,
Right.
and that's the intention of the movie. The intention of the movie is for the people who make the movies to buy houses and nice cars and to live in these exotic places.
Look, it's whatever
It's not-
makes sense at the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like I just think that if I think you need to own, if you own your wins, you own your mistakes. Whatever. It was the right
Yeah,
decision at the time.
That's good.
Yeah.
You get them both. Real quick, we're gonna try and close out here. Did you have anything else to roll through?
No, the only thing I'll go over next is I'm going to finish up American Gods. So I I think I talked about it before.
You said the
where,
first episode for that was tough to.
Yeah, I didn't love
swallow.
it. So, but I think episode 5 something kind of flips, and I know that I keep saying like I don't want to wait for it,
What's-
but there was enough thread in it, and then when episode 5 hit it, just a couple, and I almost
Yeah,
feel
you
that
got those sparks. You got that.
I feel that there's sometimes they're too in love with it. Like I feel that that's the way the preacher was it, that the people were too close,
Yeah.
and that they were trying to adapt it so faithfully that they can't see it.
Right.
So I feel like once it hit, someone else, a different director, directed it, and I was like, man, that was, and I wanted to watch the next episode. Normally I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, and I would wait a couple days, and I'm like, you know what, I have a little time, let me try to watch it. But I know that I think it ends around 11 or 12, and
Okay.
I don't love it that it's not, but there's so many characters, and now they're all kind of converging. Whereas
Okay.
before you get bits of someone, you're kind of following
Which
this guy
kind of keeps
around.
it going.
And then now they're all kind of hanging out together, or someone keeps showing up. So there's a couple characters in it that are interesting. There's a technical boy who is just somehow like connected to. When he shows up, he literally like almost like nanotechnology appears. So like he gets thrown. Shadow, the main character, gets thrown into a limo, and then this like character appears, and he looks. It's just like he's very like emo, and then there's another character who is like, I think her name's Technology or something like that, and it's Gillian Anderson. She shows up on TV as Lucy. So Lucy show's playing, and all of a sudden it's Gillian Anderson as Lucy, and she starts talking to him, and he's like, what? So he unplugs the TV because he thinks this is something crazy,
Yeah.
and all the TVs turn back on, and she's Technology, and then there's basically like almost like a Thor character in it.
Yeah.
There's Mad Sweeney, who's a leprechaun, a bad leprechaun,
Okay.
like a giant, like
Yeah.
Seamus-looking, scary
Seamus.
redhead guy. You know,
Yeah, I love
Um,
Seamus.
right? So there's enough going on in it that I hope that it like and every time, because the thing that kind of bugged me about it is I feel that just like we talk about all these media outlets that they just like they know the properties, so they just love it before
Yeah.
it's even out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when the first
Yeah,
show came
which
out,
is weird because
they
there
were
was
like
such an adulation
8 out of 10
for that. Yeah.
and I watched the first episode. I'm like, what are you watching? Like I didn't like I'd give it maybe
yeah,
a 6.
You said that before.
You
yeah.
know, and then like the next episode is like 9 out of 10, and then I watch that, I'm like, I'm barely finishing it.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Well, it's
I'm really trying.
yeah,
I like the
but
people
that's-
involved.
Yeah, but
I
that's
like the concepts.
That's the tribalism that is a part of like where we are now.
And that's what we're trying to fight that shit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think it's like expose it, understand it, grow from it, because I don't think it's healthy to. Again, it's like look.
Of course, I say that, but I ignore every fault at Riverdale, and I love it.
Well, no, I'm not. Look, and there's.
You know,
but that's the thing.
But I do know it falls apart. But like to
But-
me, the earnestness of it's like
Yeah,
enough.
But you know
and
what?
It starts
like,
great.
Here's the importance, and here's where like there's gravity to what we're doing. We're sitting down. We're having right now a 3-hour conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're dissecting this stuff. Not just now. We're going to be talking about Riverdale the next time we sit down.
Mm.
We're going to be like we've talked about it before. Look at the coverage we've done on Wonder Woman. We have maybe about 3 to 4 solid hours of Wonder Woman conversation, and I'm being
Right.
conservative.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because all that pre-hype. Do we think it's going to matter? Is it going to have any influence?
Yeah. Okay.
Is anyone going to care?
Pete's frustration with BVS.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but no,
But now we're on the second weekend, and it beat a Tom Cruise film
it did. Be
It's
a Tom
interesting.
Cruise film. Yeah, Tom Cruise film that had
with Russell Crowe in it,
with Gladiator.
with hand-picked.
Are you
With
not
hand-picked people.
entertained?
That's the thing is
Yeah.
he handpicked everyone as part of
Yeah,
this.
it's-
Like he gets signed on, and then he's like, "I'll do it so long as I give all my everyone I know."
Well,
And that's protecting. Look, he's a brand. He
well,
is his own
well,
brand.
No, you know what? You know what it is though. I think it's a little bit different. It goes the other way around because sometimes he owes them movies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like War of the Worlds got made when they he owed. I think it was maybe Paramount did War of the Worlds. Like they had to deal with DreamWorks.
Was he
or
with
whatever.
Kennedy? He was with Kathleen Kennedy for that stuff, right?
I think so. Yeah, but he still owed them a movie, and they're like, "Hey, you like you gotta do something," and he like the previous movie that he made, Steven Spielberg, like they chit chatted. Spielberg did something else. He wasn't available, And then he just called Spielberg, like he literally hung up the phone, called Spielberg, and was like, "Hey, you want to do something?" And Spielberg's like, "Yes." And then he's like, "Hey, how about a movie with me and Steven Spielberg?" And then they're like, "Holy shit, yes." See, like he's the only actor that legitimately, wherever he sets up his tent, he makes that studio money. And he has the longest track record of doing that in anyone in Hollywood history. So I feel like the Dark Universe, just based on the talent that's around the movie, the Dark Universe was like their idea. Okay, and they're wedging like maybe some things that the studio wants or decided on later than sooner or something like that. Like that's why it feels like a little disjointed. It just seems like untargeted or. That's why I'm also very curious about the movie because I just want to know like what the intent of the movie was, going in with fresh eyes because people are disappointed in the Mummy because it's not scary, and then I'm like the trailer has an airplane spinning, like why would you think it was scary, like like when
Because I think I'm numb to Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yelling. He's either in a plane, out of a plane.
Yeah.
Like he's doing this weird.
Yeah.
And then I just think I'm immune to Tom Cruise at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen everything.
But real quick, getting to why we're different, real quick. The gravity of our one woman discussion. We're not sitting down trying to make a 3-minute video where we describe a movie that
20
is
minutes after we saw it.
Yeah, 20
and
minutes
and have it up a half hour after that.
It's a 3-minute video. No, let's just be generous. 7-minute video. What we're reviewing might have taken, in one woman's case, let's conservative, 15 years to make. Okay, 15 years to make. Thousands of people involved with the production of that movie. Layered movie. A movie that actually has a multimedia history. But we're rushing to get a 7-minute review done just because we think that's the way it's done. No, Dream Warriors has gravity because we actually have hours of conversation on one thing and our opinions sway and we go back and forth and it's embraced. Like we're not done talking about Riverdale. Riverdale can keep going. And this is a part of, I want to do these, compilation cut episodes. Maybe just to put them on YouTube. But it's going to be, all of our Wonder Woman comments put together as, a greatest hits type thing. Okay?
Yeah.
And I need people to...
We can have, all, the best of our Stan Lee arguments. That could be a thing. That should be a thing. I haven't had one of those in a while. We'll do one next time, everybody. Next time we'll do one.
I want to go really deep into Stan Lee for one reason. Because I have an urgency for it. Because I know he got sick. He was ill. I don't want to rip into him if he dies. I think it's
Gonna do it before he dies?
It's bad for him. Yeah.
So, right after he dies, we'll have that episode.
Well, we'll have to wait. I would like to do it before he dies. He's going around promoting Black Panther already.
So I had a weird thought.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna wrap up, but I had a weird thought earlier when we were talking about the Watchmen thing. Do you think 100 years from now, when someone else, when our children are doing Dream Warriors, maybe, I don't know,
There you go.
or our grandchildren,
Well, first you have to find my kids.
do you think they're all over Philadelphia?
Franchises.
You set up franchises, but do you think that just the Watchmen characters are just side by side with Superman? You know what I mean? Do you think that's...
Yes, I think...
And no one's going to be
I think...
back in the day. Is it going to be
No, that won't even... Because you know what? People will be less principled in that time. And Alan Moore's stance against the corporate empire, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but against DC Comics, will seem more alien. Same as Washington crossing the Delaware seems alien to us. Okay?
You can even go back to even the different translations of the Bible on age. Abraham's 800 years old. Like, you know what I mean? There's all sorts
Yeah.
of things that the myths of that passing through, all the Zeus, all the Norse mythology, all the Greek mythology.
I will say this: can I leave with a Jesus scenario?
Don't. I guess we don't always, but we should. Maybe we should.
Yeah,
sure, why not?
let's do that. Let's just talk Jesus real quick. You know, and you know what? I'm gonna put this one out to your father because I know he's listening.
He's
Okay.
every second.
I know he's listening. Okay. So do you know like what Rome did to the unborn, like to the young children around that time? So Pilate was I want to say was like the governor. I'm forgetting who the emperor was, but Pilate was the governor, okay? And when these stories of like what was happening in the desert with the Messiah, he has risen, all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they go and they kill all the babies because they're like, whoa, he's got to be out there. We don't want our way of life to go away, right? So they kill all these children. Yeah, and this is kind of like like we're talking historical fact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they kill these children, just murder them, like 10,000 of them or some ridiculous number. Okay, and the interesting thing with this one part of like this like story that interests me when it comes to Jesus, okay, is that like Rome, a lot of things that the Romans built, they're still here, right? Like most of the opulent things, like the Colosseum, the government buildings, okay, the slums that surrounded the Colosseum have like long burned away. But these other structures, which are advanced, okay, they were masters of like, some would create, like adopted from the Greeks, but things like the aqueducts, like they had like sewage, they had plumbing, they had fresh water flow, they understood lead, and they kind of maybe technically slowly lead poisoned themselves to insanity and death, but they knew metals, and they knew the use of metals, and they knew they lined their pools with lead, like a lining, okay? So like what the Romans did wasn't far from like where we are now. Like I firmly believe like someone from ancient Rome gets transported here. It's almost like Bill and Ted's, where like there's a little like ooh and ah, but these guys get it. Like Beethoven gets a keyboard. Like they're like Romans could walk around like Philadelphia today and they're not going to be shocked. Like there's nothing like too far from like what their way of life already was. Sure, like computers, email, like that, fucking phones and shit, but they would get it. They would get it. And Rome essentially was like, you can say like it's a society kind of built on engineering and science. Okay. They don't seem like superstitious, even though like they had their like pagan gods and things like that, but they weren't like, they weren't dumb fucks. They were like really intelligent, like aggressive people. So what would scare these people? What would like really scare them to kill 10,000 babies? Okay, so you're there, you're doing your governor job, you're dealing with trash and like stupid shit, like this motherfucker like come into my office or whatever. And like, but you start hearing stories like this thing happened in the desert and this and that, and it comes from like a couple people, and like, all right, comes from a few more. Now you start hearing it from people that are in your circle, like you trust these people, and then you send people out, and then those people come back and they're like, yeah, we think it's something. So Rome and its opulence, right, and the governors live very well. Rome in someone in Pilate's position, in pure opulence and protection, and there's no threat. There's no fucking threat. There's no hocus pocus. You don't believe in hocus pocus, even during that time. So, if it wasn't truthful from what these people were seeing, if it wasn't true, if he wasn't hearing true accounts from people that he trusted, what would freak him out enough to kill 10,000 kids if it wasn't true?
Hmm.
And that's your Jesus story. That's an easy question that no one can answer.
Hmm.
The believers can answer the question because it happened. Jesus
The
was real.
believers. The believers?
Believers.
Oh, I think you meant Justin Bieber. fans.
Beavers. The Beavers. now I can't even say it now because of you.
Yes.
The Beavers. But see, but isn't that like an interesting idea though?
Mhm.
That like the Romans, by their society alone, it's not like they believed in hocus
Believe.
pocus.
Right.
These were men of science and engineering. Okay? They built like even the systems around their armies were like insanely advanced.
Mhm.
And it's like, what would scare them? Why would they even care? They're like, hey, there's messiahs in this desert, and they're like, fuck you. Okay, like, can I get back to work now? Like,
Mhm.
I don't fucking care about this shit. No, hey, there's some shit happening in the desert. Okay, like, all right, and then like a week goes by, dude. I did a quick like charcoal drawing here. What is this? It looks like there's a light shooting into the sky. Yeah, dude, that's what I saw. Okay, get the fuck out of here. Like, they had to have been convinced it was real. And I do believe this. The only reason why they're convinced it was real is because it had to have been real to trigger that type of reaction.
Mhm.
And I know that's circumstantial evidence, but O.J. Simpson got off in circumstantial evidence, and we're just ended there.
If it don't fit, you must have quit.
So many Seinfeld references.
Mm.
Would you consider that a Seinfeld reference or a?
That's where it morphs. Literally, it was a fact, but then it literally morphs
Yeah.
into a Seinfeld reference. And just to also the strangeness. I think I sent you. I don't think I sent you the video, but I did tell you that Kato Kalin did the.
Dude,
He was the MC
yes.
of the costume contest of the
That
Wizard
is
World,
like the craziest
which is the
thing.
weirdest thing
The
because
craziest.
my
thing.
girlfriend was like, if I went up to him and asked him like what he's famous for, like what
Yeah.
would he possibly say? What would he say? What can you say? What if,
Well, I would like at that point though.
he was like, it's me.
from the
Kato-
AJ trial.
It's me, the Kato. And you know what's funny is I ended up just going on YouTube and just watching like the best of Kato.
No way.
Yeah, there's like a 7-minute video. It's like the best.
I gotta watch
Just
that.
pretty fun.
That's awesome.
It's pretty fun.
That's,
And he did the. I'll see if I can find it. He hosted the Rob Liefeld Q&A.
What?
Yeah.
So was he just like a Wizard World
He
employee?
just
then?
I guess.
It's
Hey
good.
man,
You gotta do something.
keep on going.
That's a good gig. Well, like, wouldn't you and I kill for that gig to travel around the conventions?
Yeah, I mean,
moderating?
I think I'm a little more qualified. I didn't help abate,
But you know what?
I
Though?
never helped murder anyone. I never helped to I never helped cover anything up or.
Wait. Just so we're on record now, because this can be used against you. Are you saying right now that you have not murdered anybody?
I have not,
What?
nor aided or abetted.
This is a Dream Warriors exclusive.
Exclusive. I thought we were going another way with that, but that's fine.
Oh no!
I thought well, OJ's in jail, right? Were you good with that?
He's in jail for breaking and entering, stealing back his own sports memorabilia from an ex-gallery owner or collector or
Weird.
someone that had to deal with him. Then that's what they eventually got him for. Yeah, and they got him in civil court, which is really weird because you're found innocent in one court, but then now this court says doesn't innocence in one kind of take precedent over
Pretty much.
the other? I don't understand how that stuff works.
be exonerated.
This is a crazy country sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every day.
I can't.
Stranger every day.
We are talking about OJ.
It's relevant.
We took our own red pill.
Hey, listen. Last year there was what? There was
We red
a
pilled this.
huge documentary, a super long
Yeah,
ESPN
with
plus a drama, a scripted drama
Yeah.
with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Travolta.
Wait,
So it's not-
Travolta's in that?
Travolta plays Kardashian.
Dershowitz? Oh,
One of them
Okay.
plays a white guy. Plays a white lawyer.
you can't say that. this show. We're not. We're colorless.
Plays a lawyer.
We're colorless on Dream Warriors.
That's the end of it.
So I want to know from your pops what he thinks of my if he agrees with my
We'll get
Jesus
into it.
scenario.
Who wouldn't? With that evidence,
Well,
he likes it when you go history.
It's
true.
It's a path of logic and reason. Like that's what that's extrapolated from. And I'll tell you one thing, like there's not much of that right now. Like we're not in an age of reason. We're literally in an age of howling at
In
the
the
moon.
age of Ultron. That's what we're in.
That's fucking, it would be better than this fucking age. I'll tell you right now.
Oh boy.
All right, signing off.
There we go.
Any last words?
Dream Warriors signing off.
39.
It's a good one. We're on the way, the path to 50.
Yeah, I love
We're
it.
doing
yeah,
it.
yeah. For I kind of do want to do something for 50. Like try and make.
We're gonna
Like I would like to get.
shots.
I would like to get everyone here, like all the Dream Warriors.
get lots of
Here.
mics.
Yeah.
We'll do your open mic, the mic with the thing,
Yeah.
the directional mic.
Right.
We'll stream it. We'll do the streaming.
We could launch something on Facebook with it through the Facebook channel. I would like to, but we're talking like a good chunk of people that already contributed, and there might be people between now and then too.
So many marks. There's so many marks that would be here.
Well, no,
Marks and
there's
Johns.
only going to be one mark because before we do that show, there's going to be
We're gonna murder the other
there's
mark.
going to be a Mark with the C death match.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's it. So
I win.
well, the other mark's so small you
The
can just
confidence.
no that mark.
Isn't there the third mark? It wasn't the other mark. Who was the St. Patty's Day mark?
There was Mark with a K. That's Mark with a C too. He's Mark with a C. St.
Right.
Patty's Day.
The
But
guy I
there
don't
was-
know is Mark. So Mark with a K was St. Patty's Day mark.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not on the show.
He's on. Should know. No, I'm trying to like. There's a girl I know that watches a lot of wrestling. Like she's really into it. She works in the city and she's kind of like a waitress or waitress bartender, and she has fucked up hours. But I've been trying to get her here to do wrestling stuff with me because I want the show to like go into these other interests, and like even dissecting like that mentality, like the wrestling mentality, the person dedicated to WWE versus the guy that's read Wolverine, and by Wolverine parentheses every effing issue.
Everyone. And you know what? Get the F out.
Get the F out.
As it relates to wrestling.
to the attitude
Right.
era. Yeah, good call. See,
There you
look
go.
at that, right
It's a
there.
callback. Ba-da-bump.
Okay, signing off. Let's go. We're done.
Road to 50. Yeah, road to 50. I like it.